In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Big Rays, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Rays has the gear you need, tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. Check out their new exclusive line of Auralic waders. Big Rays for all your outdoor gear and rugged work attire. BigRays.com.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include weekly lawn care, custom landscaping, fertilizing, weed control, turf repair, and more. Schedule your free estimate at lawnproak.com.
Alaska's OG cider company, Double Shovel, crafting gluten-free colonial-style ciders founded as a healthier, non-inflammatory brew option. Drop by their Pop and Tap room in Anchorage off of 58th and Arctic or visit the second location in Kodiak. Double Shovel, award-winning ciders.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage, is our go-to for powder sleds and utility rigs. Whether you're in the mountains with the flat bill bros, running trap lines, or hauling freight, they have the selection to get you dialed from peaks to the valleys. Find them on Commercial Drive or akmining.com.
And I blasted all the carbonation out of that hop water.
Oh, yeah.
By extra pumping. I was pumping it like it was a keg. Like a keg party keg.
It will be. It's like a little bit more carbonated than a regular like beer. And then at the top, when it's like truly packed, like you only have to put a little tiny air in. So when you like push, it's just like pressured it up to 20 pounds.
I went to like it was my first ever Hamms light out of the keg.
Whoa. Back then?
Well, I'm just, you know how every once in a while you go to a party and somebody had some just weird, nasty beer in there?
Oh, it's so gross.
Wow, what the hell? It was only a $69 keg, man.
Natty Ice.
Fuck, dude. Remember when kegs were under 100?
$100?
Under, yeah, they were like 89.
I have no idea. What does a keg cost now, Jack?
Yeah, $150, $200.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Moosehead was a popular one for us back
then. Moosehead?
Yeah?
Moosehead.
All right. Sent up from Canada, huh?
The worst hangover ever.
I bet.
Off those green bottle beers. Oof. Man, where the UV light can get in there and just taint it.
I remember
flavorize it, I thought.
Man, Rolling Rock.
Oh yeah.
Moosehead,
Yeah.
Heineken's.
Carlo brought Rolling
I'm not
Rock
hating
after
Heineken, but-
hockey a couple weeks ago, and
Some
or a
Moosehead?
month ago. No, a Heineken, not Heineken, Rolling Rock, and it was like still tastes like that, like pee scene in Dumb and Dumber, where he's like,
Yeah. That's piss beer.
it's so gross.
Rolling Rock was official piss beer
Yeah,
to me.
it's still nasty, man.
Heineken was my dad's beer. Drank Heineken for a little bit.
It's actually good.
Yeah, it's unique, I would
Yeah.
say.
I had one not too long ago, and I'm like, oh, my palate changed. I actually think I like the taste of a Heineken. I actually had a Heineken Light. Maybe that made it a little bit better, but yeah, I never got into the green bottles, man.
Well, we also got spoiled by good craft breweries showing
Oh,
up.
totally.
You know,
Up here,
Oh,
especially.
man, I'm double fisting. I actually have
Yeah.
a caribou call.
Ooh, crack
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah, you guys all failed.
Here they all come.
Would you
It's been a
say?
while.
What would you say? Where would you say we rank as far as craft beers? Maybe like brewery ratio to people, and also like quality.
That question is so hard because, like, our perception of areas that have good beer are all based on states that have very progressive alcohol laws. So they're because they have such a progressive law. They're able to make more money and then move their distribution up and then distribute it, right? And so we see states like California, Oregon, especially Washington. You have New York, all very like liberal but very progressive alcohol rules. They don't make better beer, but all their beers, the stuff we see on the market that we're comparing to, you know. But then if you like fly down to like Kansas City, who, you know, Missouri has strict rules for, and you go to their little local brewery, they're going to have some good beer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we rank really high though.
Yeah. Top 5.
Parker, are you a beer drinker?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
When the time is right.
When the time is right. And, trying to get more into some of the craft stuff, but more into like I don't know, you'd call it the cheap piss beer, I suppose.
Oh, there you go. Way to diss Parker right away. Moosehead is his beer, dude.
No,
Like I said, I'm trying to get out there and develop my palate a bit.
I didn't say there's a piss beer I drink all day long.
Are you like a silver bullet kind of guy, or are you like
Silver Bullet, Miller Lite. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Well,
guy.
Miller Lite's that's my 30-pack beer.
Yep. Yeah.
There, a lot of times you're not getting the craft stuff in a 30-pack.
No.
Right. Oh,
You probably
$300 later.
Yeah, no, that and the alcohol content.
Yeah.
Costco, you can get that, maybe.
Oh, the Kirkland beer.
30 packs.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Is Kirkland beer good?
It's pretty good.
Is it?
I mean, I think
it's
it's
just
made
good-
by Miller, isn't it?
That I don't know. I've never
Okay.
had it.
It's man, no,
It's okay.
It's
Go
made by one of them.
Okay.
One
that
of
makes
the
sense.
one of the big three. Yeah, I'm
it's
not
all
sure
right.
which one. Yeah,
But you get some of the other stuff there. Not 30-pack, though.
no, and you spend more money, but it's like, you know, craft beer and it's local and
I mean, I noticed in my recent travels over the last couple of years, going to some places, there were some craft beer options. There was quite a few craft beer options, like at the hockey rink there in San Jose,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was kind of surprising.
yeah, that's cool.
I tried a few of them, and they were great.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know where we rank. I'd say per capita, we have like the most craft beer artists maybe in the state for how small and how few
capita?
people. Yeah, like we have so much craft beer stuff, but there's barely any people that live here. So
That's true.
I mean, if you think about all the breweries, all the places to go get beer that are, even the guys that are brewing beer that don't have store. Here we go. How many breweries are in Alaska? Parker, if you're wondering, this is our
Trivia
trivia music.
Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah. Good trivia.
Just a little pre-hype for you. I hope your trivia game's
Actually, how many
strong.
breweries are in Alaska? That's a really good question, man.
We'll do it on We'll do it on trivia.
Okay, we'll
Or
look it
do
up,
it
Jack.
right now.
We'll,
We can do it right now.
we'll do it right now. Let's go. Let's get it
It's-
going.
Trivia can happen anytime during the show. You can do pre and post trivia.
And you have to name every one of them.
Yeah, could probably name 10 though. I'm gonna say 55
Breweries.
breweries.
Brewers.
Brewers, I guess.
Breweries and brewers.
Yeah, they're the same thing,
55. I'm going to say 28. Oh, that's crazy.
right? Too
What am I
late.
talking about? Yeah.
I was thinking more 40.
40.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Good
right,
guess.
that's fair.
Good guess.
What'd you come up
He's
with?
looking for the answer here.
Yeah. All right. So I'm trying to just see where this date is based off of. but it's
Give us a guesstimation.
Are we playing for anything?
Oh wow!
Yeah, actually,
we have some mayor.
Excuse me.
Yep,
We have
got some,
mayor salsa over there.
Yep, you
Nice.
got a bottle of salsa.
Yeah.
You
Perfect.
like salsa?
All right.
I do.
Oh, you're gonna love this.
So what were the numbers? You said 40.
Yep.
28.
55.
It's 40 plus is the number.
Ooh,
I'm trying to see
you
what.
guys both.
My man,
What date it was?
is
I
getting
lose.
some
I went over.
salsa.
Yeah.
Got some salsa.
There you
All right,
go.
well, you're gonna get a hoodie, a hat, and some salsa before you leave tonight.
Awesome.
all right?
Nice.
Nice, nice.
Only at Alaska Wild Project do you get a hoodie and salsa.
That's
In
right.
one victory.
Take some
Yes.
cider home with you too.
There you go.
The salsa's gonna be at Double Shovel.
Yeah. So the mayor's
Mayor's salsa is gonna be a Double Shovel.
very soon.
Yes.
Yep. And we're gonna have, I think.
Well, probably when the show comes out, it'll be there. No.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because the jars just came in, and we're gonna have some like one of the local chip companies there.
Nice.
So
Nice.
you can get.
Oh,
So you can have the chips and the salsa.
Yeah, or you can just bring it home.
And now the salads.
Yeah, and then now
I don't
the
think we talked about
farms-
the salads last show.
The local greens farms are now doing farm to table salads at a Double Shovel. So you can come any day of the week and pick up a pre-made, freshly made salad. Farm to table, local farms, come get it.
I had a colleague ask me late last week if he could find those salads on the local green website or Double Shovel, and I advised him.
Oh, for
Yeah.
info maybe.
Yeah, like if he was wondering if he could like order it and pick it up or something. Like
You can just pick it up anytime, so you don't have to order it. There,
Right.
we have deliveries in the morning, so by
Okay.
the time we're open, we have a fresh stash.
okay,
Like
I
this
told him just
morning
come
we-
to the cidery and physically look at them, grab them, and then while in the process, grab some ciders, some salsa, and a bag of greens, and just get it the full.
Is there
combo.
like
So we
a
have
couple different
There's
ones? or-
two right now. We're gonna switch every like month or so. One of them has like an apple bacon vinaigrette,
Ooh, yum.
and then it has little pieces of apple in it, and
That was my question.
what
What
else is
the
in that
dressings
one?
were.
That one has like roasted peppers and roasted tomatoes, and then the other one is a quinoa green with like a lemon vinaigrette, lemon cream vinaigrette, and that has sweet potato in it, a few other things. That was the one I was eating in here. Oh, and it has
Check it out.
it has pomegranate in it.
It didn't stand a chance.
Oh, dude, I
That thing
crushed
went,
it.
yeah, that thing went down quick.
I was hungry, but that one has a little bit of quinoa in there. It's like, it's filling.
What a really good, healthy option too. For I mean, you know how you haven't eaten something until 5, 6 o'clock at night. You didn't get lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're just famished. So
Yep.
the first thing you see, you eat, whether it's pizza, tacos, whatever, it gets inhaled, right?
Yep.
At least it's that salad.
Oh yeah,
Not like 3 pieces of pizza you ate in 3 bites with ranch and
yeah.
washed it down with a root beer. I mean that.
Yep.
An hour later, that kind of
Unwashed greens, like straight from the hydroponic farm outside. You can't
Nice.
beat it, dude.
yeah,
I will
so pretty
say
cool.
I'm not a quinoa guy. My wife is a quinoa girl, and she always tries to come with different grains and couscouses, and I'm white rice guy.
Oh, how about even brown rice? I'm like, get that crap out of
She
here.
does that too. She, yeah.
Fried
I
rice,
like it
though.
here and there, but man, something for me. Because growing up, man, it's all we had was white rice. Man, it was like white rice and meat. That's what we ate, and potatoes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I used to be like that, and then literally a week ago, I tried the whole quinoa thing. Might have to start trying that
You're a
now.
quinoa guy now?
I don't know. I'm dabbling, dipping my toes into it.
I was gonna make a hoodie,
well, good
not
for you.
quinoa guy.
But
I like
Just
the quinoa when it's
crossed
like
out.
I can't do like the quinoa on the side where it's like a whole scoop, but if it's like mixed in like it was with the greens
Yeah.
or mixed
Okay. I'm
into
with you on
something,
that.
and so it's just like lightly peppered in it, then I can do it. But I don't think it's a good replacement for like rice if you're like eating meat and rice.
That's what she does.
Just a scoop of quinoa.
No.
Yeah,
Just
dude.
plastic.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But I think
I
if you're
can't,
mixing it in with some stuff, it's.
I
Pretty
mean, I
good.
do it, but it's not
You'll
preferred.
choke it
Right.
down, basically.
Yeah, I just prefer white rice.
It's good
I don't
for
know
you.
why.
I mean, it is good for you.
Yeah,
Parker over here, he's watching his girlish figure, so
this
he's
is right too, man. Yeah, this guy.
The bird
Hot sauce
killing
helps.
machine right there.
Yeah, man. What's your dog's
in
name?
good shape.
Cooper
Cooper.
just turned 11.
11.
That's such a rad
Man,
picture,
good boy.
Yep.
Good boy.
Chocolate.
Chocolate and a Chesapeake mix, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought there was a mix in
Yep.
there.
So he's got the chesty personality, but the looks of a chocolate.
All right.
He's
got that
perfect hybrid.
puffy
This
chest
picture's
too.
cool. This
Like,
one you can kind of see the Chesapeake in him a little bit. Maybe I thought.
Okay, is that gray in him or clay or is
That's
it dirty?
mud.
That's
Mud.
Straight up. Tanninol River silt.
all
Nice.
right.
Yep.
Tell me about
Awesome.
the e-collar.
The e-collar.
You train them yourself? You take them somewhere?
I trained him myself. Yep, got him as a pup at like 8 weeks old, and
Up here. Or?
in Fairbanks actually.
Okay.
Yep, there's a fella, old hunting guide, still around, Joe Want. I don't know if you've heard of him, but yeah, got him from Joe Want, and he's been a great dog. Didn't really know what I was getting into, just knew I wanted a dog, and it was difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Chessies are kind of notoriously stubborn,
Yeah.
and so it was some
Full energy too, right?
full energy. But once you sort of figure out who's in charge, most loyal, best dogs ever.
Nice.
So,
You got to do a little flexing, a little bit of just kind of
all the things.
all
Yep.
the things.
All the
all
things.
the things.
Is he still getting after it at 11?
He is. That was from last fall, actually.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So, yeah, he's in great shape. We've gone certainly through our health issues with cancer and knee issues
wow.
and all that. So he's a
perse-
trooper.
He's persevered.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So he's got character, man.
You can see if you look down in that picture a little bit, his right foot has 3 toes. We had to take one
there
of
it
them
is.
off.
Look at that.
He had a sarcoma.
Oh, the three-toed woody.
Yep.
Damn, he's doing the straight west side, dog.
Yeah, man. He's slipping us off, man. He's slipping us off.
Okay. West side.
Wow, he's been through it, huh? What was the toe
A
incident?
rad dog, though.
That was a sarcoma tumor right there.
Oh, yeah,
and,
tumor. Okay.
Oh, on his foot.
on his foot, yeah.
Wow.
And luckily they were able to take the toe instead of, the leg or
Right.
something like that. And
Yeah.
I think he developed that at 9 years old, and I don't know if I would have gone the leg route. It's kind of getting up there for him to try to adjust to that, but the toe is no big thing for him. So
Right.
luckily we think we got it and cancer-free at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Nice. Knock on wood.
Yep.
Man, you see dogs with those. My brother had a 3-legged dog. His dog had an accident, and they had to take one of the legs off, and you would never know that
Yeah.
dog had 3 legs.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And he was a
Yeah.
big
Well, he
was
old,
happy
like,
as hell, too.
oh man, black lab mixed with, I want to say Rottweiler or something. That was a great dog. Great dog.
Yep.
Yeah, those go on. I saw another little guy walking his little dog, like one of them little rat dogs, and he had I didn't notice it was 3-legged. I call those dogs 3-legged woadies. I don't know why.
The ponies?
Yeah, 3-legged woadie. I don't know. My brother started calling his dog that. I just call every 3-legged dog that. It's like you want to go talk to him. When you see a 3-legged dog, you
Oh,
want to be
totally.
like, hey,
Yeah.
what's going on over
Yeah,
here?
totally. He's going through it, man.
Yeah.
You got character. That's a really cool dog, and I'm seeing that dog is like he goes everywhere with you, dog.
Oh, he does.
He's in the
Yep.
truck right now.
He is. He's a guard dog for the truck. He won't let anyone else go in near it. So,
awesome. Good
but
boy.
he's friendly as can be as soon as he's out of the truck. It's
Way cool.
yeah, great dog. And you asked about the e-collars. Huge advocate for the e-collars, but you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was night and day when he sort of learned he had to listen to me when he's
Yeah.
not on
Yeah.
a leash. And
Yeah.
once the thing's connected in his head, it was spot on.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a pup at home, and I'm like thinking I got to go that route.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's
I'm
some-
asking everyone that I see that has one, like, what are some pros and cons and advice? Like,
I don't know if there's really any cons as long as you do it right.
yeah.
And I can try to get you some resources, or at least the ones that I use. That
Okay, that'd be
kind of the basics of how to introduce it to them and do it properly.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. I don't want to scare her off or.
Yeah, it gets a bad rap, and but I think that's just from people just have a misconception about it and
Yeah.
thinks it's a punishment tool, and it's not.
Oh,
No,
man.
right.
no.
Yeah,
Teaching
probably
tool.
forever messes a dog up once you cross that path.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and some are more sensitive than others, and you have to know your dog
Oh,
to know
very
what
true.
how much pressure they can take, and
Okay,
Yeah.
so this e-collar is like the
Shock.
shock collar style. Okay.
yeah.
I was thinking like e-collar, like with the antenna and whatnot.
Well, they have both. Remember, we saw that couple riding their bike when we went
Yeah.
out ice fishing, and he had his 3 dogs, and they all had the e-collar, but he had like a super fancy one. It was like had an app,
and
and
they had antennas on their
yeah, so you could
collars
track
and-
all their stuff.
A
And,
lot of people with upland bird dogs have that because they go way out and point and sniff birds, and they can track them on their phone. And they usually have like e-collar thing associated with the GPS, but that's what I use is just the e-collar itself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that one of those guys seemed super fancy. He was telling me that's like even a boundary, like when you're at your camp or your house, you could set like a circumference, and it will just the dog will know that it can't go beyond this part.
You can set perimeters.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's why when they're going on the bike, because I was like, oh man, these dogs are gonna run. My dog's gonna run over there, and and those dogs just stayed like within close to that bike, and even though they wanted to, they knew. You know what I mean?
Just a moving field wherever he goes.
Exactly.
A bubble they got to be in.
Yep.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's see.
And my dog went in and out of the bubble. So.
Well, and I have a friend that has 2 bulldogs, and they have shot collars, and one of them is very smart, and you can tell gets the concept of the collar and like pushes it only when needed, like when it's worth it. And the other one just is like so rock-headed. It just like gets
bulldozes through it.
Yeah, he's got to like crank it up and zap them more. And I think that's my only like experience of seeing somebody with a shock collar.
Yeah.
And these aren't working dogs, right?
Yeah,
they're just family dogs, and they're excited, and they get rowdy with other dogs. They're not harmful in any way. They just. And then a bulldog versus a Chesapeake chocolate lab, right? Like that dog has a job and instincts and wants to do a certain thing, versus a rockhead bulldog. But I guess what I was pointing to is like the do's and don'ts and how to properly use it.
Yeah,
like he's working with a totally different critter,
right?
And then maybe is limited on like experience with how to properly use a shot collar. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to like say that.
Well, that's why you see and nothing against him.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
But you see people that could obviously there's certain ways you should do it and the way you should be doing it in the proper way, and then you see people that are like, I don't know if that's like right.
Yeah, so some people just slap it on and start pushing buttons and expect the dog to know what that means, and you really have to teach the dog what that stimulation means.
Yes.
For a command that they know already.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an upland bird dog, and she's a duck hunter too. She's a chocolate lab, but I didn't think I was gonna have to get one because she's just that kind of dog, and it's not better. It's just we worked well together, and then she went on one pheasant trip where she just would not stop. It was just like she jumped birds. If you shot and one didn't fall, then she went to jump more birds, and then she's outside of the line, and you're like, oh man, outside your radius. So we had to use it for that 2 times, and then I've never had to put it back on her. She just like learned from that, but there was she wasn't getting it that like, hey, you went outside my radius, you can't do that. It's even when you're excited, because she would know not to do that when there wasn't another set of birds to jump. But when there's so many birds and you didn't knock one down, she's going after the next ones. And but 2 shocks and then never had to use it again. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, with him, I wore the button out on one and literally had to get a new one. Like he was really hard-headed, and it was for all things that he knew how to do and knew what he was supposed to do. And I gave him an opportunity to listen, and he didn't. And I, let him know. And like I said, we wore a unit out. And
well, it's like disciplining, or a child almost. It's like teaching or something. I mean, not saying that you're going to shock your kid, but there's consequences for when you don't do what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, sometimes the teachings can be challenging for both the teacher and the
because you don't want to have to shock the dog. You know what I mean?
No.
And it depends on what standard you want for your dog. Mine was I say something once and he does it.
Gotcha.
And some people are fine saying like, come, like 7 times, and he gets 1 shot to listen. And once we got through the hurdle of him learning that's the threshold,
first command,
I haven't had to shock him in a long time.
Right.
But
he comes on the command.
Yep.
Right away. Yeah, he learned the lesson.
That's like with kids, man. If I have to ask 3 times, I am fucking psycho dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I say. I asked you nice twice.
Yeah, the first time is like nice, and then the second time is stern and like, ooh, man, we don't want to get to strike 3, right? Like, come on, it's like,
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to ask twice. And then 3, I'm just like, come apart because I just feel like you definitely heard me the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of was that way with my old dog. I was just a kid with a puppy, and I didn't really know how to raise a dog, but I was a little hard on him. But that was always my rule, too. It was once, maybe twice if, like, you didn't hear me because it was loud or something.
Right, yeah.
Or you're far away, like, I'm going to give you that, but, you know, you need to come when you hear my voice, whatever that is.
Parenting 101 with Parker Bradley.
Yeah. I think a lot translates over, you know, a lot of the same concepts.
Yeah.
He goes to the Babies R Us, gets the crib, gets the pillows, gets the shot collar.
You got kids, Parker?
I don't know.
No. Okay.
Just that guy.
Yeah.
That's right, man.
Number 1 baby.
Yep.
Number 1 boy right there. All right, right on. So I wanted to say congratulations to the Double Shovel hockey team for making it to the championship in Homer, to the wonderful Ash Cup Homer tournament, which was coincided with the Winter King tournament.
I know.
Was it Homer busy? Like super busy?
No, actually, like it felt like more people were there for the hockey tournament than the King Derby.
The Derby?
That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like the years previous where like there's just boats everywhere. I saw 1 boat driving down on Friday. Wow. I mean, there was boats out there. I didn't look to see how many fishermen there were total, but it didn't seem as busy as like the years past that we've done the
Maybe
tournament.
not as many entries this round.
It didn't seem like it. I mean, there was a bunch of down years in a row, right, where it's like 5% of the boat fishermen are catching a fish, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that impacted it. I heard there was 1,000 anglers, but I didn't look up. It didn't seem like that out there. Yeah, like no traffic,
boats, though.
and like none of the fishermen at the Salty Dog, like it was all hockey players.
Really?
Or, you know, hockey players' family.
Have you done that derby?
I have not, no.
Yeah. We went like 5 years in a row, I want to say. And it's just been consistently, fishing's been not as good each time. But before that, we used to go in like October, November, not during the derby, just to go out there. Mm-hmm. And we would always get our limit. Everyone would get their fish. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they put that tournament, and they tried to switch the date this time, right? Back to a little late or a little
earlier. They moved it earlier last year again. Yeah, so it's been March again.
Traditional time was March.
It should be in November or December, or when, you know, when you're going out on those boats and everyone on the boat's catching 2 kings. Like that's, if you spend the money to go down there to do that. It's just, it's really tough when you're like, you have all these options this time of year and you're going to go haul a boat across a snowy pass to not catch fish.
It makes sense to do it October, November before you put the boat all the way away.
Yeah.
You know, because now people like, that's another reason why we probably didn't go too. I mean, boat's buried, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how you can,
my boat guy
very true.
Reached out to me a month ago and we were like, he was like, dig the boat out. And we're like, yeah. Then
well, maybe if it was like we got 8 fish last year and everyone got a king, then it would have been like, all right, let's do it. But when you get skunked 2-3 years in a row, it's like, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things. First off, congratulations coming in second in the tournament.
Silver medal.
Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose.
We had to give the belt back.
Typically, when you come in second, you're the first guy to lose. So it's painful, but it's still honorable to make it to the chip. Yeah. We can get into those details in a second. What I was going to say is that, 4 or 5 years ago in like the post-COVID time, I think there was a different push for guys that, number one, had more boats. I think there was that, like, coming out of COVID, a bunch of people bought boats. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were excited to get their boat out, and the Derby was a month later. So all things put together, you had
more meltage,
warmer weather, maybe more inclined, and able to just get the boat out because it's like the snow melted enough that you can get it out. You can run your motors, you can hook hoses up, you can do all the things.
Yeah.
And then it was just something that was more of an exciting adventure to get out and do because you've been so cooped up. That's what I found from the years that we went prior. Because if you notice now, we're all going back to normal, and it seems like the hype around that Derby isn't quite what it had,
Right.
You got a nice dandy hair, Parker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Is that a big hen?
It is a big hen. It's a white
Beauty.
king too.
A
that was a white king?
25 pounder? Or
Nice.
what, 18 pounds?
That was actually, I think, 37.
Oh, Jesus. So you're not doing the hold up to the
I'm not
camera
doing the
deal.
holdout. No.
Okay, so that's legit looking like a 30.
That is a legit. Yeah.
Okay, my bad, because because everybody does the hold up close, so it's like
Yeah.
hard to gauge, and you're not holding the tail, so I can't tell totally.
Where was
That's
that?
a chromer, though.
Prince of
my
Wales.
gosh.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful
What
fish.
a beautiful.
That was a dandy.
Fish.
Look how flat the water is, too, man.
Yeah, nice day.
Nice.
Yep.
Love those.
White
things.
too.
Beautiful
That's the
photo.
best.
Yeah, I just started kind of getting into some of the ocean fishing within the past few years. So done that, Sitka, Yakutat,
Nice.
Homer once, and it's a blast.
Yeah.
I really want a boat, but
Yeah.
maybe a few years down the road.
Yeah.
It's a whole lifestyle for
It's
sure.
another level, yeah.
Yep.
Where was your favorite place to fish in the ocean so far?
Oh gosh, I would. I really enjoyed Sitka.
Yeah.
That's a really cool area. Yep.
You guys go for kings?
We were going for kings, and it was pretty slow, but so we just kind of shifted to halibut and lings and rockfish and everything else.
Yeah.
Did fairly well, but a lot more areas I'd like to go and just not be dedicated to one place. And
Totally.
we were actually doing the boat rental deal, so we would go to a place and just rent a boat and do our own thing, rather than hire a charter to take us out.
Sweet.
And
Okay.
do that for 4 or 5 days, and it's pretty good deal, I think, especially if you kind of know how to fish.
Totally.
That's the way to do
That is a
it.
good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. That's
Well, and
awesome.
I think that's good to get hours under your belt, maybe whether for yourself or your crew that you're going to fish with in the future. If you do decide to get a boat, I mean, that's
Yep.
good practice, right?
Yep, make sure it's actually something that you are capable and
Sure.
want to do.
Want to get
Yeah.
into, yeah.
Yep.
Take on that responsibility.
Yep.
Have you been to, I was in Sitka once and they had the herring thing going on where it's like they open it for a few hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's insane. Like,
All the Super Cub spotters and
were
all
you there
that.
with me? When they opened that? Oh, that was a different time because I remember it was a beautiful day. We were there. It was shitty.
Yeah. Shit. It was shit cut weather.
Yeah, but then they pull out all them, like all the herring, like eggs, all on the branches and all that stuff.
On the multiple hooks.
No, they're like attached to like trees that they put down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big hemlock trees, I think, and yeah, they just fill them up.
Yeah, I mean, it looks awesome. I never actually tasted it. I would love to taste it, but I mean, people brag about it. Like, it just looks so good. I see Trent a lot. He gets some of that stuff.
Oh, he does.
But I know it's just like, what, a couple hours on like one day a year or something like that is your only chance?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
my buddy's the manager down there for the herring fishery, and see if I can get him on the show for you.
Yeah, okay.
I'll talk
That
to
would
him,
be-
but,
yeah, that would be
yeah,
awesome.
that's a pretty intense fishery to manage, and
Oh, I bet.
he was telling me a little bit about it. So yeah, I think that's going on right now, isn't it?
It's right around now because I thought
Yeah.
that's what got me thinking. I think I saw somebody like post something about it or something.
Yep.
Well, and that's a high in demand fish, right? Herring?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
big time.
So
Yeah.
is this a personal fishery you're talking about, or is this commercial?
I think actually catching the herring is a commercial deal, but the eggs
Oh, okay.
is not.
personal.
The
I think
eggs
it's more
is like
subsistence.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen that though? You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen it.
Let me pull it. Let me pull
Yeah, no,
something
please
up.
So
do.
they basically make like a little place where they'd want to come hatch or lay spawn. I mean,
Spawning
yeah,
area.
I believe so.
yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Like a
this.
little nest or something. Oh man, that's
I've seen those.
incredible.
Oh, hell, I've seen those.
So it comes like that, and it just looks like
And it's just attached to like kelp or seaweed or just.
some
or-
sort of tree. And I wonder. I think they put them down there purposely, right? To like so that the herring
herring
will like
will-
release
Yeah.
on them.
And you leave them there for like a week or something.
I'm not exactly sure. It
We need
looks
to-
kind of like quinoa.
We need to get we gotta get the herring guy in here.
Yeah.
Stat.
Yeah,
Stat.
we need the herring guy.
I'll
But
talk
yeah,
to
you'll
him.
see pictures like this. These guys just have a whole like branch full of it, and that's just like they love it.
I need that for a salmon skin roll.
I want to see that in a local green salad.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't
Can I
think
substitute the quinoa?
I don't
with
think you
the
can even
herring
like
eggs?
buy that or get that. You have to
No.
actually like be there and know
get it
somebody.
yourself.
Harvest it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
but yeah. I
What
could
is
get
their
mine.
eggs called? Is it like caviar? Or would that be
Good question. Let me ask the
herring
old Google
fishery
here.
and caviar?
I think just roe. right?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Herring roe. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Let's
There you
get
go.
some biology speak going on here, bro.
Let me know when you want me to start.
It is. They say a unique kind of caviar and herring roe. Yep.
High in
Okay.
omega-3 fatty acids.
Yeah.
I'd take a spoonful and just try it.
Yeah. Oh,
Boy,
absolutely.
I bet it's fishy, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder.
Might salt it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Some cracker and cream cheese.
You guys
A little
ever
basil.
you guys like the canned anchovies?
I do.
Like if you're
I used to be sent to elementary school, and that was part of my lunch.
sardines or caviar or the
Sardines.
sardines. Anchovies are a little bit
Anchovies, we use it
Fishier.
for our. Alexia will use it for the
salad.
the Caesar salad.
And the Caesar salad, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I like it just like that too.
I've been
I'll eat
eating,
it.
I've been eating the little fillets out of the can,
Just
with
like
the salad, because
yeah, it's so
like,
salty and good.
Man, it's making my mouth water talking about it.
Did you get the pizza
like
with
it.
that? When I was
Yeah.
was that you that got
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Muldoon Pizza does a
Oh, that's right.
anchovy sausage pepperoni pizza. And it's the stinkiest, smelliest, oiliest pizza, but it's so good, man. Cheese, the salty fish,
I'll have to
sausage.
try that one time.
Oh, man. Yeah, we'll get down on the old man and go swoop one up.
That sounds like Ninja Turtles or something over here.
It does. I mean, if you do like some Oreo cookies and peanut butter on it, you'd be straight Donatello. For
Yeah,
sure.
the Savarios has a pizza with the anchovies, and Freshie always wants that one, and I've had it. I'm good.
Oh, you don't like it?
No.
Clarify something on the Freshie brothers. So Justin works at the cidery, and his brother
Jesse
Jesse.
Fresher.
used to work at the cidery.
Okay, so I met him again last week.
He still does some part-time stuff.
And I was
for us.
giving him a hard time because Emily asked him if he wanted a beverage, and he's like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "What? You don't just have like a go-to favorite immediately? Like, come on, man."
Yeah.
I thought he worked there, so
Yeah.
I was giving him a hard time, and he gets Avalanche. I'm like,
Really?
Well, he likes AK Apple.
maybe
Oh,
that's,
okay.
maybe
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what he got.
Yeah.
But he did, no, he didn't. He got Avalanche. I think.
Really?
No.
He got AK Apple.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He did. He did.
He
My bad.
probably
always
was
on tap?
he was probably hesitating to see if we try to keep enough for 1 year at a time. So
Oh.
the next one comes out. I think it's out now, and the next one is almost done.
Here's hesitating.
'Cause
They're going to
that's-
charge him?
Huh?
If they're going to charge him? That was his hesitation?
No, if he wants to switch away from his thing,
Oh, it's normal?
Those are Alaska apples that he helped plant those trees with us. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah, he
he
was
grow
part of the
those trees. He
process.
loves that cider.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
it's
he's
got
like, oh, I'll go away from
that
it. No,
connection.
no, I can't.
Yeah.
I bet that's his hesitation.
Did I hear both freshies were at the Homer
Oh,
tournament?
dude, our D was solid.
Damn, dude,
I think
that's
we
solid D.
Yeah, we were good. We were good.
You never see them both at the same time.
No.
Oh, like
I didn't know they were I knew Freshie for years, and I didn't even know he had a brother. And then I knew the other Freshie for years,
Well, I just met
and
Jerry
I didn't know he was
for
brothers.
the first time in like 3
It's
years.
just like, and then you see them both together, and you're like,
The best is that they
You guys
both call him
coexist?
Fresh. So like,
yes.
like
is it Freshie 1 and Freshie 2? Like what?
Big
No, there's
Fresh.
fresh and fresher.
Fresh and freshest.
Freshest.
Big Fresh and Freshy. Is how I do
Oh,
it.
okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, but yeah, Jake Thompson was like, "Oh yeah, bet, you know, you're skating with Fresh." Oh yeah, I'm skating with Fresh. Years go by, we were talking about it and stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, I heard Fresh got a job at Double Shovel," and I was like, "Oh, Fresh has been working at Double Shovel for 4 years," and he's like, "Are you talking about Jesse?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I've been talking about Justin all this time." So for like 3 years, we were talking about. It was funny, dude.
These are two brothers. Their last name is Freshion.
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 Fresh on.
And their nicknames are Freshy. I'm like, wow, you guys are lucky. You got the coolest
nice.
ass nicknames.
That is cool.
They're solid Alaska guys.
Eagle River boys.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think you can find a more like Alaska boy than an Eagle River boy.
Oh yeah.
Those boys are stout out
nice
there.
chat with those guys.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, so the best moment of the trip is like, so we had our like family dinner. We always do at the team's been together forever. It's like, you know. So we had family dinner at AJ's, and then we had to go back to the rink to see like if we made the when we knew we were going to make the championship because we were undefeated, and then and who we were going to play. And so we were there for a while and make it back to the lands and talk to all the Homer guys. Love the Homer guys that put it on the tournament. Shout out to Justin and Scott. Those guys and their families are amazing. Anyway, so then we go back to Land's End, so then we can walk to the Salty Dog because, you know,
Perfect.
no drinking and driving. And so we're walking down the beach, and it's probably 1 a.m., right? by this time.
Love that,
And Galen Nelson and I are walking really close to the water, so it's super dark towards the
T-Cat?
Salty Dog. And then
Glen Allen's finest.
you know, there's like a memorial. Oh yeah, hell yeah. There's like a memorial over there of like for like all the seafarers and stuff.
Oh wow, okay.
Okay, so I know there's a statue there. Anyway, my dad's texting me because he wants to know what time the kids are racing the next day for skiing, and I'm trying to go through the app and find out exactly what time they're racing. So I'm not really paying attention, and I look up, I see the statue, and then I keep walking, and I see the statue again, so I don't run into it. And then the second time I glanced up, I noticed the statue had a beer bottle in its hand, and I stop and look at it. And it is the perfect statue of a commercial fisherman with a beer bottle, and it's Jesse. And he's been just Jesse Fresh, and he's just been standing perfectly still on the beach, acting like he's this statue. And then I almost ran into it. You know, I'm pretty close by this time, 6 or 7 feet away. But man, it was perfect. That silhouette.
That's funny.
You know, it was great. Yeah,
I was almost afraid
that was my best
you
moment.
were gonna whack your head because you.
I didn't
I've had
whack
some
it.
rough-
Not this
Didn't
year.
whack it this year.
Concussion-free homer trip.
Yeah. We did look at the fence from last year, though.
Yeah, my guy loves a concussion and homer.
Yeah. Scored a goal.
Leaves it all in Homer.
Yeah. No.
I did miss it, man. I'm bummed. I kind of bummed when I didn't go. I actually drank a little extra on Saturday night for you guys at home.
Yeah, we tried to call you.
They did call me, like Austin Cop and my brother, and I heard all kind of
the
people
full
in the
drunk
background.
call?
Oh, 2:30
I was right
a.m.
there.
Oh
dude.
shit!
The message was just hilarious.
Where
a
are
minute
you?
long. You hear all these guys. He's not there. Let's call Boots.
We did. We FaceTime Boots, and Boots was like on some trip, and he looked like $1 million.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, he was all dressed up. It was like whatever.
was in, like,
2 or
LA,
he's in
3 in the
Vegas.
morning.
something.
Yeah, maybe
I don't
Vegas.
know. He's all over the place.
Yeah, it
That's
was
funny.
funny.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters and outdoor enthusiasts with the highest quality gear and equipment since they opened their doors in 1963. Barney's carries exclusive brands such as Alpaca Rafts, Sitka Sims, Exo Mountain Gear, Hilleberg, and much more. Barney's prides themselves with keeping a huge stock on hand of various top-of-the-line tents, footwear, sleeping bags, optics, cross-country skis, just to name a few. Barney's is also the exclusive retailer of Montana knives, Seek Outside, Kafaru, Stone Glacier, and their in-house brand, Frontier Gear of Alaska. Barney's has a superior selection of top-rated boots, sleeping bags, dry bags, mountaineering gear, electronics, and accessories. Need freeze-dried food or mountain snacks? They got that too. Barney's now has an amazing new paperback catalog available for in-store pickup or online order. Visit them today at barneysports.com, or even better, stop by the store in Anchorage at 906 West Northern Lights. If you want the best, there's only one name in the game, Barney's Sports Chalet.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage for 47 years, has expanded 3 stores. The main store, the largest Skidoo sled dealer in North America, also has Can-Am, Sea-Doo, Climb, Suzuki Outboards, Honda Outboards, generators and snowboards, Kingfisher boats, and so much more. Alaska Motorsports and Equipment just next door, which was previously Anchorage Suzuki Arctic Cat, for all your Arctic Cat, Suzuki ATV, Husqvarna, Generac, Mahindra Tractor, and now Argo Pro and Sasquatch needs. And to round it out, also next door, the brand new Alaska Mining Superstore, for the largest selection of recreational and light commercial mining equipment anywhere, period.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaska public lands, waters, and wildlife. From national level policy work to engagement with boots on the ground projects from Kotzebue to Ketchikan. BHA performs public land cleanups, hunting and fishing clinics, and community education to help take your game to the next level. BHA's community-minded goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping wildlands wild and fostering the next generation of sportsmen and women for years to come. Make sure to follow BHA Alaska for upcoming events, local brewery pint nights, and more. Stand up for Alaska public lands and waters by supporting the Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Join us today at backcountryhunters.org.
The Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. When you pull up to the Treehouse, you'll notice the beautifully hand-drawn art by Alaska's own Ted Kim. Once you get inside, you're going to see many of the same people that have been there since they opened. The bud tenders know you and what you like and what new product you should be checking out. The store is super clean and the music's always on point. The Treehouse and local owner Josh Boots is a staple in the cannabis culture through his music, community givebacks, and a lifetime desire to bring the people of Alaska the best products available. The Treehouse always has at least 25 strains available, and they're all shown prominently deli style in clear, openable jars so you can see and smell your options. Other products include edibles, concentrates, vape carts, pre-rolls, flour, dab rigs, and anything else you need, they got it. They also have some pretty sick merchandise for sale. Check out thetreehouseak.com, or better yet, stop by the Treehouse today and get started on their loyalty program. Remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Yeah.
At a local liquor store?
Yeah, oh yeah. La Bodega has it.
Oh, they do?
There's one,
Okay.
from like Steelhead Brewery or something in the States. And then Turnagain Brewings make a hop water. And then, Jay Liska and I are making these.
Nice.
Do you guys have like an official name for it yet, or is it going to?
Well, I want it just to be like AKJ's. Sounds good to me. He's, very passionate about it.
I like it.
Yeah.
That'd be
He
perfect.
also has a pineapple one that's real good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Is he going to come? Do we?
Yeah,
Invite
he's
him?
coming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I
We have
don't know. I
an
saw it on
awesome
my
invite
list.
for you too when the show's over. I don't want to say it on air because it's kind of private, but
Awesome.
Well, it'll be done, gone and done by then, but
oh yeah, it will be.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Oh,
We host.
taking that
We
back.
host a. Yeah, we can tell you. I guess we host the annual wild game potluck,
Ooh.
and it's this
AKA
Saturday.
meat
Yeah.
party.
And we do it big. There's all kind of
way.
beverages and a DJ and all kind of food.
I love a good meat party.
I think we had about 200 people
Yeah.
last year. So
Really?
there's a whole bunch of food going to be coming.
Right on.
So
If you have the hankering to, roast up or smoke a beaver, you can throw
There you
that
go.
sucker in there.
Okay. Okay.
no, we got
So
all
you're
kind
a
of crazy
trapper and all.
stuff.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you got some stuff you snagged into
I'll
this one.
think of something creative.
Nice. Parker, give us a little bit of history on your background before getting into ADF&G and how things been going over there.
Yeah, sure. Quick background on me. I grew up in Kentucky and always kind of had the outdoor bug, hunting and fishing and whatnot, and kind of pursued that with my education at University of Kentucky, and got a bachelor's in wildlife biology, and was told I basically need a master's to be a biologist, and thought, well, okay, I guess I'll go get one of those. And they said, but unfortunately our program's not really strong enough to get you into a graduate program, so you need to beef up some bachelor classes or take some additional ones. So well, that'd have been nice to know. So I went to University of Montana for a couple of years.
Oh, okay, nice.
And
That must have been fun.
oh, it was a blast. I loved it there.
Yeah.
So
Missoula
fun.
is a rad town, man.
It's a rad town. It was part of the Wildlife Society, the Forestry Club, and it was just a blast. I wish I was there for more than 2 years. I should
Yeah.
have started there.
Did you
Oh,
get
I
to do
bet.
some elk hunting down there?
My second year there, they changed the rules to where if you're a student, you could get a resident license, and that was the first year.
Oh, that's cool.
Before I would have had to have paid non-resident
Right,
license, and that was just too much for me
Yep,
as a
yep.
student. So
Did they do that at UAA or UAF?
I don't think so. But
I know the military boys can.
I'm glad they do
kinda
it. I
wanna
mean,
know.
it's kind of neat. But yeah, we walked around in the woods. We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything. But
Yeah.
then after kind of finishing up there, I was looking for places to go for get a master's degree, and saw an email from a professor at UAF up in Fairbanks, and responded to him and talked to him on the phone. And within a few days, he was like, "Yeah, come on up when you graduate."
Awesome.
And before I knew it, a few days after graduation, I was driving to Fairbanks and started my project. And a couple of years doing that, and right place, right time. Fish and Game was offering a graduate internship out of Fairbanks. And so basically had to be a graduate student. And I was finishing up and actually had time to get a summer job. Most graduate students, they're, completely inundated with their project.
Yeah.
So I was in the right position to apply and got my foot in the door that way. And then applied for a biologist position shortly after that finished up, and it's, the rest is history. I spent 8 years in Fairbanks, and then the position I have now, I started in 2018, and been there doing the pike stuff ever since. But
that's specific to an invasive species biologist focus, right?
it is. That's my focus is invasive species.
From 18 to now, that's been kind of like your specialty?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we back up a little bit? What was the project you were working on?
Oh, for my master's?
Yeah.
So I was looking at essentially the juvenile fish migration in the Yukon and Tanana rivers, kind of in association with hydrokinetic devices that they were putting in the river. So essentially, like, they were putting in these turbines to generate electricity for remote communities, and these turbines essentially sat on like a pontoon boat, oriented with a vertical shaft and kind of spun like that.
Did you have a picture of that on your Instagram?
I do not.
Okay, I thought I saw something like that.
You could probably Google Yukon River hydrokinetic device, something like that, and get a sense of it. But
does it go deep or is it close to the surface?
It's on the surface.
Okay.
Yep. Now, at least the ones that they were doing out there, and the idea was we weren't sure if there was, out migrating salmon or any other fish, the little juveniles in that part of the river where the turbine was, because they didn't want to, blend them up or chop them or anything.
Totally.
And so we were doing the fish sampling to see where in the river the juveniles were and when they were coming down the river.
Right.
And we started in the Yukon River out of Eagle, so just downstream of the Canadian border. And the Yukon kind of kicked their butts for the power company doing the project with the debris and the high flows.
I bet. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Did it look kind of like that?
Yep, sure did. So that's actually a really interesting picture. So this is the Tanana River out in Anana. That thing in the front on the far right is what they call a debris diverter. So it theoretically sheds trees and logs coming down river.
Yeah.
That pontoon is where the turbine is housed, and then right behind it is what we call an inclined plane trap. And those are devices designed to catch juvenile fish moving downstream. So it's kind of like a perforated screen that lowers in the water at an angle, and a lot of the water gets sieved through, but the juvenile fish hit that plane, travel up it, and then dump into a box on the back.
Okay.
And so that's what we would use to capture fish in that part of the river.
And the turbine company or owner of the pontoon allowed you to attach that device on the back?
They did. Yeah, that was kind of part of the permitting requirements to allow the fish sampling to co-occur with that. Yep.
To be making sure or just doing our due diligence, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? We're trying to use a natural resource to supply power, which is okay, but then we got to make sure it's not affecting another natural resource.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
And then who would check those?
I would.
Okay.
And had a technician that worked for me, and so we would do that. But in the Yukon and in the Tanana we wanted to kind of get a sense of diel patterns. So in some systems, juvenile fish have a very distinct migration downstream, like at nighttime, middle of the night. They travel when it's dark. Well, up here it's not really dark in the summer, right? But we would still wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to run our fish traps to see, and wake up 6 hours later and do it again, and just had this kind of difficult schedule throughout the summer to get a sense of that. And there really wasn't any diel patterns that we noticed, but we had to check, just to make sure. So.
And you're using that lower trap for that?
We're using that, and we also set pike nets on the shore.
Okay.
And we did that to kind of get a comparison of the relative abundance of fish on the shore versus the mid-channel.
Okay.
And we actually started in Nana a new device called kind of like a midwater trawl, and it's basically a net that we were able to lower down to the very bottom part of the river to see if fish were only at the surface or, in that spot, I think it's 20, 25 feet deep, depending on how high the river is.
Okay.
But we wanted to get a sense of if fish are down at the bottom, because there are systems in other parts of Alaska. They have hydrokinetic turbines. They're actually designed to sit on the bottom of the river.
Okay.
And they're actually oriented like a DNA helix, and the water flows kind of perpendicular to it.
So it does like this right here.
Yeah.
Well, it actually spins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right.
Oh, okay.
And Yep. So there's all kinds of different designs for turbines and whatnot, but in these systems, they designed to sit on the surface from a pontoon boat. And one of the most difficult things with this type of power generation is getting the power to shore. Because you have to have a power cable.
Yeah.
You can either suspend it over the river, or if you run it through the water column, that's just another source of debris getting collected on it. So,
Right. Would they bury them in the bottom or dredge them?
I mean, the hard part would be getting it from the surface to the bottom.
Right.
That's where the problem would
Okay.
be.
Weighted.
Now, if the turbine is sitting on the bottom, you could probably,
Do
keep
that.
it on the
Yeah,
bottom pretty
yep.
easy.
That
but,
makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So right now, it's just a test site in Nana. They're not really generating power, from my understanding. I'm a little bit disconnected with it
Right,
now.
sure.
But they're still doing tests over there, I believe, and still doing some fish sampling. And
What were the findings on your project?
in the Yukon, we didn't get a chance to sample from the turbine site a whole lot, just because they were having a lot of difficulties with all the debris and whatnot. But we got some really good data in the Tanana, and if I recall correctly, a majority of the fish were actually on the shoreline. Your resident species, whether that be suckers or whitefish, grayling, that type of thing, mostly all on the shoreline. In the middle, juvenile chum salmon, they were actually in the middle and in the shore, almost in even numbers. And then a lot of the Chinook and cohos, I think, were mostly out in the middle.
Okay.
And, timing primarily May, June.
Okay.
It's when the peak migration is. So
What about come wintertime? What would you guys?
we
take all the
stopped
data?
sampling in September-ish or so.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, I
like
had
late-
classes that started up.
Gotcha.
All right.
But they didn't run the turbine through the winter, so that wasn't necessarily a concern anyways. It was just during the open water season.
Yeah. Did you guys, or did someone end up like kind of doing an overall assessment on like what the actual impact is?
A little bit. They did a lot of that out of, what is that place, like Igigik? Igigik, maybe,
Yeah,
out of Dillingham area.
Igigik. That's where they do all the commercial fishing stuff too, right?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. And I'm not super familiar, but they did a much more in-depth, because the water's clear, so they actually put video cameras on the turbine and could actually see fish traveling through, and they wrote UAF wrote a paper on it.
Okay.
And that's a lot more detailed on the direct interaction with the turbine and the fish. And also there was a lot more fish, a ton, like millions of sockeye going downstream.
Right.
So you have a great sample size. Here you're sampling chocolate milk, and the sample size is really low. We'd maybe
It's
catch
a massive river too.
It's a massive
so much
river.
Hard,
Yep.
So hard to cover the whole thing. And
Yep. And to be honest, they didn't spin the turbine a lot. Well, really any into Nana. It was more just to get a sense of where the fish were. So we didn't get ever to the impacts of a turbine, because we never really got to sample behind a turbine. But we sampled where one would be to see if that's where the fish would be.
Right. Okay.
So they've done a lot more kind of in that southwest region of the state for
Got it.
more turbine impacts. And yeah.
Cool. So when you got done with UAF and you are applying for Department of Fish and Game, do you get to apply for certain posts or positions or things that you want to focus on, or is it more like get your foot in the door and they're going to place you somewhere?
You apply for a specific position.
Okay.
Yep. So you go to, and now it's called Workplace Alaska. That's where all the state government jobs are, and you can.
It's like a portal or something, right?
Yeah, and you can. And a lot of states kind of have a similar portal, but for all state government, you can filter out a certain department that you might want to work for. In this case, say Fish and Game. So you only look at Fish and Game jobs. You can filter out locations. Say I just want to work in Anchorage or whatever. Just look at Anchorage Fish and Game jobs, and but yeah, you apply for that specific position. At least at the biologist level. There are instances like with what we call Tech 2s, kind of like the entry-level technician jobs. They might apply for a position, and if they don't get selected, they can still sort of be selected for another position. We can pass their application on to other biologists in the office, and, they can get hired pretty quick. So,
okay.
And then what was that first job?
So the first job after my internship, I was a habitat biologist in the Division of Habitat.
That was where you took the job in Fairbanks?
In Fairbanks, yep.
Okay.
So I was an intern with Habitat, and then got a job as a biologist with Habitat, and that was a phenomenal experience. And we did a ton of work, primarily on the North Slope. That was where we had some really big projects. At the time they were doing, looking at some potential pipelines, going through the area. So we were doing a lot of fish sampling in those locations. And it was all remote helicopter camp based stuff.
Fun.
So,
Awesome.
we get dropped off, we get, sling load camp onto the shore of a river, and we get inflatable boats we put together and just boat all over creation and just see what we find. And
Did Cooper get to go?
he did not. No, he's bummed. No, I wish. But weight's kind of an issue when it comes to helicopters.
Absolutely.
So we had to
Yeah.
take that into consideration. But we'd be based out of Wainwright and Barrow, and it was a lot of fun and really good experience. And then we would also do a lot of work around Red Dog Mine, Fort Knox, Arctic Boronite. Up in there, we do the aquatic biomonitoring programs, they call it. So we would sample, anything from fish to invertebrates to the paraphyton on the or chlorophyll A on the rocks, basically the entire food chain.
Yeah.
Downstream of the mine, outside of the mine, and just kind of it's a long project that they've been doing. So we have a really long data set to track any trends or changes that might be occurring. So
Got it.
Sounds like a lot of work, man.
it was a lot of work, but it was a good learning experience.
Sure.
And a lot
Real
of fun.
boots on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we do
It's hard work too because you're sleeping on the ground, bugs, bears.
Oh yeah, yeah. The bugs are something else, and up there in June, July, it's even like never dark, and we get what we would call tundra time, where you don't lose a sense of time, but it's really easy to work real late and then wake up late. And then work even later and sleep even later. And before we knew it, we were waking up at noon and then working until 2 a.m. And it didn't matter up there,
It's like the Twilight Zone, right? You're just kind of rolling.
Yep.
How does it work for like food and stuff like that? Is the department supplying that stuff, or
Yep.
is there like
They
a
would
camp
supply 'em.
chef, or you guys are all responsible for making it? Or
For the most part, we were kind of responsible, and we
Okay.
would just have to plan and get everything we needed for that entire time. Usually our stints were about 10-ish days or so.
oh, okay,
All right.
So not like all summer long.
okay, about a sheep hunt time.
Yeah, about a sheep hunt time. And, we would have, little Honda generators with little freezers and good coolers. We could rotate food, keep it frozen.
Okay.
The
So
fresh.
you guys were eating. You guys could eat some good food when you wanted it.
Yeah, we were eating pretty good, So, I mean, that's one of those things that you want to have some good food to look forward to, and you're in that type of environment. If you're doing the Mountain House thing and oatmeal every day,
It's gonna get old.
It's just a morale killer, And so you wanted some nice food to look forward to, some bacon in the morning and that type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, keep the boys happy.
Yep.
Cook over the campfire. Ooh.
Yeah. So from there, the spot opened up where you wanted to be, or
So from there, I was kind of looking to make a move down to this region of the state. A lot of the people I went to school with in Fairbanks, they all moved down here and got jobs. And like, man, a lot of my friends are down there. I would come down here all the time to visit them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just need to move closer to y'all. And started looking for jobs. And I didn't want to just take any job because I was in a really good place up there with a really good job. I wanted it to be a really solid move. And
Yeah, it needed to be worth it.
oh yeah, for sure. And I saw this position and instantly knew like
that's me.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yep. And applied and got hired on in March of 2018. So about exactly 6 years ago.
Wow, perfect timing too for right before the season kicks off, and you can start running jet boats and
Oh yeah.
start doing collecting data and doing the whole biologist game, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Jumped right into it pretty much.
Yeah,
And
all the prep.
Is there a team, or are you the one man guy?
there's a team. So my supervisor's here in Anchorage. And then I have a biologist in Palmer full time. And we have 4 seasonal techs that we
Okay.
hire starting in May. One of them works just May. One of them works May, June, and then the rest work May through September, maybe October.
Okay.
So we have 2 techs that have a full season, but the one guy that just works for the month of May, he goes on to Dillingham with Comfish for another project, and
so
kind
he's
of bounces
bouncing
around. Yep. So it works out great for him, great for us, because out there they don't start until June, and I just need them in May, and so it's a perfect deal. So
is that early season May kind of like the setup time for getting all the equipment out and getting the weirs and all the different equipment out on the rivers? Is that kind of where that?
Yeah, it's really we bring them on starting May 1st and start trainings right away. So we got first aid, we got shotgun training. I actually did that today here in town, got that out of the way. But they need annual shotgun training, and then we do our own in-house training about the project for our techs. We do a day dedicated just to boat driving. So we have kind of some unique boats that we operate. They're called surface drives, or like mud buddies, like the Go Devil type.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just because the habitats we work in, generally jet boats, wouldn't function as well because it's super weedy.
Yeah.
But because it's shallow, props wouldn't work as well, and so that's where the surface drive motors really come in handy.
Yeah.
And so because not many people have experience with them, we want to make sure any new staff is comfortable. So we spend a full day just going over it, training them with it.
Yeah.
And after that, it's really just kind of waiting on breakup.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happens, our first project's Alexander Creek. So as soon as Deshka Landing opens, we're on the river to Alexander Creek, and that could be kind of early-ish mid-May to the later part of mid-May, and just kind of depends on the year.
And what will you be doing down there?
So down there in Alexander, it's kind of our longest ongoing pike suppression project. So basically go down and we set gill nets and kill as many pike as we can. Alexander Creek, it's about 40 river miles long, very meandery system. And as a result, there's a lot of like oxbows and sloughs and backwaters. And that's where the pike primarily spawn in the springtime. And so that's where we're at, hitting all those sloughs. There's about probably 65 to 70 that we hit every spring, depending on the water levels that year. So we got one crew of 2 people kind of at the lower end, one crew stationed up at the lake at the headwaters, and they kind of just work towards each other.
Okay.
And and
never net the main body. You're just netting.
Never net the main body.
Right, okay.
Anytime you start getting into flow, that's generally you're going to catch less fish and you're going to have a lot of bycatch.
Right.
So that's where your grayling and rainbows are going to be.
Yep.
You getting that backwater weedy stuff, a lot less of that.
Yep.
So
you're right.
What's the theory on the beginning of the pike infiltration?
So down here, it really began in the 1950s.
Oh, not long ago.
Yeah, quite a while ago. So to give everyone a little bit of background, northern pike are actually native to a majority of the state. And some people think, that pike are invasive everywhere in Alaska. That's not the case. They're native almost everywhere north and west of the Alaska range. So, Fairbanks, western Alaska, totally native, but south of the Alaska range, so here in the Mat-Su Valley, Palmer, Wasilla, the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage, they are not native. And in the 1950s, essentially someone with a cabin on Buitrago Lake, which is in the Yetna River drainage, flew up to the Fairbanks area, Minto Flats, with a float plane, caught some fish, flew them back, dumped them in Buitrago Lake because they wanted to fish for pike in the lake they were at. And during that time, all through the U.S., people were moving fish everywhere. That was a very common thing to do back then. A lot of, they just didn't realize the implications or didn't care. And, so that's how they originally got down to this region. And then once they were in a place down here, they began to also get moved from Buitrago Lake to other places because it was a lot easier. So they were flown to Alexander and I think some places like maybe Shell and Chlatna up in that region. And then a flood in the 1970s allowed them to escape Buitrago into the Lake Creek, on into the Yetna, and the rest is history. And they're still kind of on the spread. They haven't occupied everywhere yet.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Lake Creek had the same problems as Alexander.
I wouldn't say it has the same problems, but that's where it started.
Okay.
It doesn't have really the habitat that Alexander does that allows for that level of pike predation.
Yeah,
you know?
Like all the old back water
Correct.
sloughs that were river change channels and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Alexander's the perfect conditions just to be a pike factory.
Yeah. When I was a kid, we'd land in Alexander Lake, catch giant pike, and then we would float down the river and just slaughter kings. Mm-hmm. And it's not that magical relationship anymore.
No,
not at all.
it's and it's taken some time, for that noticeable impact to occur. So it's believed the pike were put into Alexander Lake in the 1960s, and then it wasn't until I believe the 90s that they were first discovered in the very lower part of the creek. Okay. So they kind of marched their way down over time, and then it was in the early 2000s where every other system in the valley had like boomer record king returns. Like I think the Deshka saw over 60,000 pike or kings or close to it, and then that year Alexander like barely met minimum escapement.
Right.
Like what's going on? And it just never recovered from then. Yeah. And it's roughly about a 75 to 80% reduction in king production as a result of pike in that system.
Sure.
So it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Are you seeing it getting any better?
Not really. So the past couple of years, we haven't been able to do aerial escapement counts. That's kind of how we measure the returns. Fly it in a helicopter, count the kings. Yeah. And high water the past couple of years kind of kept us from doing that.
Okay.
But I think we kept the kings from probably going extinct, but we haven't met minimum escapement since 2005.
Okay.
So it's pretty dismal still.
So heartbreaking. The Alexander River was a multi-million-dollar business stream that had lodges and guides, and Russ Flying Service and all the other planes were like bumping each other's wings and shit, like dropping off the Germans at the lodges for kings, and it was like
it was amazing.
I had an old cadre I used to live next to. Old Mr. Johnson, and he had a property up on Alexander, and he had a buddy who had a property from New York, John, and they would tell me some of the just most glorious stories of Alexander Creek.
Yep.
And I was too young, and my dad wasn't into going flying out and doing that whole thing, but sounded like it was an amazing, maybe 30 years. The Alexander was just an amazing place to go, and like you just said, you'd fly, catch pike, and then you'd float and catch the kings, and then the silvers in the fall, and the bars were like cracking ass, like town bars, like
the lodges out there,
Gabberts, and like you hear the names and how cracking and popping, and there was all the extracurriculars going on, but it was sounded like Roadhouse style shit was going on there at one point. It sounded Wild West, and it sounded awesome, dude. And I've been up there one time in my boat, and it was a ghost town. There was no one there, and it was
at 12
a shell of itself.
At 12, in that float, I bet I would catch 24 kings.
You couldn't keep them off,
and that was still like playing with the friends and hitting rocks with sticks, and that wasn't like the hardcore all the time. So when you guys in the spring, when you guys do the netting, then you meet in the middle, do you guys keep count of how many you think you get?
We do. Oh yeah, we count everything. We get all kinds of data off the pike we collect. We look at all their stomach contents, their sizes, the whole 9 yards. So we keep good records of that. And I think to date, I just did the math. They did a couple years of preliminary work in 2009 and 10. Then we really started in 2011, and I think we're up to like 32,000 pike we've taken out of the creek.
Oh my God.
So far. So
damn, that's a lot.
It's been about past few years, about 2,000-ish is what we
you're
catch.
kind of average, staying on the same plane now.
It actually was decreasing for a while. 2011 was our highest initially at 4,000 pike, and it's been going down. We were sub 1,000 in like 2019, and then in 2020, I don't know what it was, just shot back up. I think just good conditions for recruitment. And, so we're the tough part about Alexander, and really any place else that we do some of the pike netting, is we're doing it almost exclusively after the spawn. So despite us getting there as soon as we can in the spring, the spawn is like 98% over with. It happens that fast. And
Because of the access, you just can't get there because of the ice.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And they spawn so early in the spring, it's tough to catch those pre-spawn females, and that's how you really impact the population.
Kind of like building up to it now, basically.
Yeah, so
it must be like an April thing. Is that kind of
it kind of depends. It probably starts in late April.
Water temperatures and
Very
different-
temperature specific for sure.
things of that nature.
But for example, like in some places in say Idaho or Washington where they're also invasive, like they're doing netting right now, catching pre-spawning females, and they're really able to drive down the population. And so we're kind of fighting an uphill battle, so to say, uphill.
What do you guys do with all the fish?
Once we are done getting the data from them, we really just kind of find the back of a slough and dump them in the water, and there's no one up there for it to create a nuisance for, so to say. So we just make them go away. They're not really, I would say, fit for human consumption at that point, because we set our nets, they soak for like 24 hours. So a pike could have been dead for 23 hours.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to eat that.
Yeah. I was just thinking like mulch or some sort of like garden, something.
Compost.
Yeah, we've given them some when we do our local netting, like on road accessible lakes. We often bring the pike back, and we'll give them to people that might want them for compost or fertilizer or whatever.
Yeah.
What do the pike do in the winter? Like, where do they go?
That's a really good question, and it really depends on the system, and a lot of it we don't know.
Okay.
They obviously have to find suitable overwintering habitat, and so they get pushed out of places where it's not suitable, or they just die in the winter, right, if it becomes not suitable.
Right.
But yeah, they just kind of become a little lethargic, kind of slow down their growth rates, their feeding rates, and just wait until spring.
Is there a way to tag them and track them in the winter?
There is, radio tags, and it's very common to do on fish to track in fresh water. We actually did, before my time, and they did a radio tagging project in Alexander. They tagged a bunch of fish in the lake to essentially see, are the fish moving to and from the lake? Like, do we need to net the lake as well?
Yeah.
Or are they staying in the lake? And at the time, most of them were staying in the lake. Maybe like 5 to 10% would mosey down the creek and then maybe come back.
Okay.
Or if they went down the creek, our crews would catch them in the spring, right?
Right.
So majority of them stayed in the lake. That's why our efforts really focused on the creek, where like the king spawning was.
Okay.
But kind of with budget issues and that type of thing, when money is getting thrown at pike work, people want to see dead pike, right? Not necessarily like where they move, even though it might ultimately result in us killing more pike.
It'll help later, it's good information.
Yeah.
But it's an investment, so to say. But it's kind of a hard thing to sell when you could also do a
Some
project to
damage.
just kill them.
Yeah.
So.
Have you ever done anything in the lake?
Alexander Lake.
Yeah, to eradicate them.
Not to eradicate them. We did an interesting kind of deal in 2019, and it was essentially an angler incentive program. So people ask us all the time about, doing derbies or put a bounty on them or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of problems with that. One of the biggest is putting a monetary value on something that you don't want moved around or spread. If it just has a blanket monetary value, then all of a sudden people think, well, I can make a nice source of funds over here if I move pike to this pond, and I can just catch them and they're right by my house.
You're putting a great weapon in the wrong hands at some point.
Yeah, you got to think worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Plus, we have a native range just north of us. You'd hate to see somebody over harvest pike up there and bring them down here to cash them out. Like, you just never know.
Sure.
And so, kind of what we did at Alexander Lake was we put pit tags in the cheeks of the pike. Pit tags are passive integrated transponders, so they don't transmit, but if you run a scanner by them, it'll pick up the tag and has a unique number. So they're invisible. They're about the size of a grain of rice or a little bit bigger, and we just embed them in the cheek. And the way it worked is we said, okay, if you want to go pike fishing in Alexander and participate, cut the heads off, bring the heads to us, and we'll scan them. and if we get a tag, then you get $100 Visa gift card, and then at the end of the season, we'll do a drawing for $1,000.
Nice.
And so we tagged, I believe, about 100 pike out there in the fall of 19, and then it was designed to be a winter kind of project. So it started in,
snow machine up and
snow machine
fish,
up. Yeah, it started
catch.
January 1st of 2020. Then, of course, we had COVID start to roll around. But we had good participation. So every week we'd have some guys bring pike heads in. I'd scan them. I think we had about 15 or 16 tags come back. And, I forget how many, 500-ish something total pike that came in. And COVID kind of killed that project, more so with funding.
Okay.
Because when COVID hit, the tourist really, didn't come to Alaska. Sport fish licenses really went in the tank, and we really had to ratchet down a lot of our projects, and that one was the first one to go. So but that's the only thing that we've really done at the lake.
That was the big spike year, wasn't it? You said 19 was like that crazy rise back.
To 2020 is
okay. When,
yep.
Yeah, the
Spring
pike came
of
back.
So the kind of one theory I actually have on that for Alexander is it's dealing with another problem called Elodia, and that's an invasive plant. And
that green grassy stuff that gets hung up on the bottom of
Elodia? How do you
planes
spell
and
that?
all
yep,
that.
ELODEA.
Yeah, this is like a problem in a lot of lakes in Alaska.
It's I wouldn't say a lot yet. But in the Matsu Valley, it's in Alexander, Sucker, and Big Lake. Unfortunately, it's been in a few places in Anchorage, Jewel Lake, Sand Lake is where it all started.
But I think it's in Paxson Lake now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
about
yeah.
that one.
Bummer.
If you
yeah, it
the whole outlet, it didn't used to have this like what looks just like
green,
that.
slimy.
That all the way up to the surface, and now it's I've been floating the river 20 years now. It's there.
Okay.
And it's like choked the outlet of the river.
Okay. If it has
Or the lake.
3 leaves around its stem, it's kind of really the only plant up here with that. So
Okay.
it's got to have 3 little leaves. I don't know if you have a good picture of that.
See if we can see one here.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like a lily pad.
Not really. It's kind of like a soft, flexible stem. I mean, that's very classic.
Oh, yeah.
But you see along
in-
the stem, there's 3 leaves.
in
Okay.
Finger
Yeah.
Lake,
At
too.
each point.
It's where?
It's in Finger Lake.
It shouldn't be in Finger Lake.
Not in Finger Lake? Okay,
No.
maybe I'm thinking of a different weed.
There's a lot of kind of reports or complaints we've gotten in the past few years about all of a sudden weeds are really dense. And, that's actually a DNR jurisdiction on the plant.
Oh, yeah.
But we obviously keep an eye out anywhere we go. But yeah, it's just a bunch of native vegetation that maybe whatever conditions are right, it's just getting a lot thicker.
Well, I noticed when we had those really hot summers, lots and lots of sun, those weeds just exploded.
Oh, yeah,
they
And that was
bloom.
what I always contributed to, like going to Finger Lake for 30 years. I was
Right,
like,
right.
Yep.
all of a sudden there's tons of weeds. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, it's been sunny every single fucking day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's
Growing them up.
growing
So if you
up,
think
yeah.
that's bad, imagine that probably like times 1,000 with this stuff. Like it's bad.
Oh, especially around like the shallower grassy
The shallower,
banks.
usually like,
Just a jungle of that shit.
15 to 10 feet maybe. I mean, Alexander is the perfect worst case scenario where the whole lake, in the middle of the summer might be like 6 feet deep or something like that. And it completely carpeted that entire lake. It makes it to the point you can't boat through it. You can't fish. You can't
That sucks.
literally do anything. Like your duck dog couldn't swim through it to get a duck.
Really?
That thick, like nuisance thick. Airplane pilots, it completely clogs their rudders where it's difficult to steer. And that's often how it moves very quick from water body to water body is hooked to a float plane rudder. And it just takes one fragment to start a new population is the scary thing.
Oh, man.
So it spreads super
Just
easy.
spreads.
But so that time frame in like 19 to 20, like the entire lake was inundated with Elodia, and DNR was starting to do treatments on it. So I don't know if the high density of Elodia / maybe the treatments they were doing pushed pike from the lake down into the creek, and that's why we were seeing
influx.
the numbers in 2020.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of that substantially changed in those few years. So, Alexander's in a rough shape with the pike, the Elodia, all that's going on.
Man. What are the so do you think that this Elodia thing's going to be a problem going in the future? You think they're going to get a handle on it?
You can kind of see it there in that picture, huh? Is that what we're talking about there? This stuff?
That looks like native vegetation, actually.
Okay.
Those weed beds are always kind of there. That's Alexander Lake Lodge near kind of the the outlet. There you go, right there. Up, one more, right there. That pilot's holding a big pile of Elodia. So you can see basically the vegetation all the way in the entire background.
Oh,
Alexander Lake completely inundated, and you just reach down and that's a handful of this stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to turn that into salad, man.
Oh gosh,
there we go.
So this guy's probably flying to Lake Hood next or something. How does the Lake Hood not have it then?
Well, so they actually kind of preemptively treat Lake Hood every year.
Okay,
just so that it doesn't become a vector to go everywhere.
Right.
And so they keep a close eye on Lake Hood and kind of do treatments periodically just to. Plus, the pilots don't like having vegetation anyways, no matter what it is, and so they kind of keep that down in Lake Hood, fortunately. So, but I mean, people doing touch and goes on any of these lakes, and then they go to another one, and it happens that fast. And
is that the backside of Sleeping Lady right there?
Looks like it.
Yes, I believe.
I've just never seen that angle.
Yeah, it's a different angle from up there.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, because you go right by it to go turn and go up the river.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's kind of weird to go like that close to the mountain.
Yeah.
Kind of like then you start going away from it.
It's neat when we're boating to Alexander Creek in the lake. So we boat down to the mouth of Alexander, which is about the mouth of the Sioux within a few miles.
Yeah.
So we're down at the bottom of it, and then we boat 40, 45 miles up to the lake. We're totally just going up the length of it, and you get a whole different perspective by the time you get up there. So it's pretty cool.
I ran it once in like August.
Oh, okay.
Labor Day. It was skinny.
Oh, yeah.
It was way skinny. Like it was. There was a point where I had to turn around. I just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, we
the boat up too much, but
used to do like minnow trapping there in like late June, early July, and after hitting enough rocks, and it just wasn't worth it. Beating our equipment up, beating ourselves up.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous too.
But I mean, in the springtime, water's about 10 feet higher.
You can just run up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. So, I mean, you got to cut trees along the way.
True. Yeah,
But
you get a lot of debris.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Where does the future stand with the pike? You think they're just going to eventually get across and it's going to be a problem up and down the Kenai? And
Well, so on the Kenai, that's a story in itself. That kind of began in the 70s, and it's believed they were flown in from western Alaska, so sort of a separate introduction than what we had in the Mat-Su.
And is that based on like DNA from the fish?
Genetics.
Okay.
Yep. And so
Being able to confirm those fish to those fish.
correct. Yeah. And so that began in the 70s, and a lot of the eradication efforts for pike, it really didn't begin until 2008, and it was almost really just focused on the Kenai Peninsula because it was a problem that we saw as solvable or hopefully solvable at that time, because of the systems they were in. And from 2008 to 2021, it's been full-blown eradication projects on the Kenai, and as far as we know, there's none left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So were you poisoning them?
We were. Yep.
With what?
It's a product called rotenone.
Okay, yeah.
Very common fish pesticide used since, maybe the 1930s or so.
Removes oxygen from the water.
So it doesn't remove the oxygen. It essentially prevents the fish from using the oxygen.
Oh, okay.
It kind of shuts their gills down.
Okay.
At the cellular level.
Okay. And those pike were just in lakes, basically?
Lakes. They were in Soldotna Creek. So fairly complex systems. And like the Soldotna Creek system, I think that took, maybe 4 years to complete.
Okay.
A lot of this was done before I was hired.
Sure.
But somewhat familiar with it. But yeah, that was a really large project. And then the last one was actually on Miller Creek, or basically Vogel Lake.
Okay.
And that one is an interesting one because it's remote, the very northern tip of the Kenai Peninsula. So if you look at the map of the Kenai Peninsula, very tippy top. So if you're able to maybe pull up Vogel Lake, but it was perplexing because it's in the middle of nowhere. How did these pike get there? Did someone fly them in? There's a cabin on it. It's in the wildlife refuge. People fly in to go fishing.
Right.
But what's interesting is kind of leading up to that, we were getting reports of pike being caught in Cook Inlet by commercial fishermen. We're like, oh, goodness,
like in the brackish.
In the brackish water, yep.
Crossing.
Yep. And we have a really interesting tool called otolith microchemistry. And you take the otolith of the fish, which is the inner ear fish bone, and you look at the chemical signature of it. You cut it in half, and it's essentially what you're left with is like a tree ring. If you think of like, what do they call the candies? The jawbreakers, whereas you eat them, like they have different colored layers.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine cutting a jawbreaker in half. The very center is when that fish was born, and then the edge is when that fish was killed. And as it's going on its life, it's laying down unique chemical signatures based on the water that it's in. And so we're able to take a laser ablation machine. They have one up at UAF. Read the chemical signature throughout that fish's life history, and brackish water, salt water has a very unique signature, so to say. And one of the pike in the Vogel Lake had a distinct saltwater signature, which tells us that it traveled through brackish water at some point in time to get into that system.
Wow.
So that's how we knew, because we were curious, like, well, if we do this project, get rid of them, will they just come back, or how'd they get here? That's a big question, how'd they get here. A lot of times it's, people are pretty obvious, like, well, it's connected to this other river with pike, right? But in that one being so unique, we wanted to know how they got there, and we just happened to catch the fish, and it was a really large, like 16-pound female that had been in there for a while.
Yeah.
And
was that about a 36-inch fish, somewhere in that range, maybe?
I'd say so, maybe
30 at least.
Yeah, in the mid-30s, I bet.
Big hog, yeah.
Yep.
Wow. So did you guys also look at the genetics of that fish? Would that fish have come from the west or up near Fairbanks?
We took the genetics. I believe it's essentially concluded that it just swam from like the mouth of the Susitna. So in the Mat-Su Valley, and really kind of throughout that region, they're so inbred and interrelated, we can't tell if a fish genetically really came from Alexander, Deshka, Nancy Lake.
They're so
Big
mixed
Lake.
up.
Yeah, they're so really tightly inbred because they started from such a small population of a few fish. If you look at their native range genetics, up in Fairbanks, they are kind of clustered together genetically, but
there's still
show some diversity.
Yeah.
And I'm no geneticist. That's way above my head. So I'm sure a geneticist is just banging his head on the wall listening to me describe this.
Can you please explain this to this guy?
Yeah. So, so genetically, almost the otolith stuff is more relevant to determining where it came from than the genetics at that point.
Okay. So are you guys keeping an eye on Vogel Lake to see if more come in, or?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are operating essentially a weir in Miller Creek, preventing fish from moving upstream.
Oh, okay.
And the idea is we obviously don't want to stop all fish, right? So during the salmon migration in the fall, we'll go there and manually, net fish and pass them over the weir. Luckily, it's a pretty small salmon run, some sockeyes, cohos, that type of thing, nothing huge. So we're able to still pass fish over, but the main thing is we want to stop pike.
Yeah.
So,
and is that left up in the winter?
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's kind of it's not a long-term solution, so to say. It's our best short-term solution until we come up with something hopefully more permanent.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely a problem that we weren't aware of really, say 5 or 6 years ago, and we've been kind of ramping up our sampling for this in systems where we think it might be occurring. So, for example, Campbell Lake, Westchester Lake. We found marine signatures in pike there as well. There's a system on the west side of Cook Inlet. We found that as well. So,
Or like Beluga area?
Yep, near the Beluga area. Yep.
Where they would essentially have most likely swam, say, out of the Sioux and south, potentially.
Possibly. Or they are also already well established, like in 3 Mile Lake.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh,
so they could have
okay.
maybe come down 3 Mile Creek and then up this other system. Hard to
In
say.
the inland watersheds.
Yeah.
Just work their way down there.
Yep.
Okay.
But a big
That seems more realistic.
question for us is, when is Cook Inlet suitable for pike to make that movement?
Sure.
Because they're a freshwater fish, right? And so knowing what Cook Inlet is doing on a annual basis, even with the tides, right?
Right.
That's a really critical thing for us to try to understand of when are these drainages vulnerable? When is
Yeah.
Cook Inlet suitable for pike moving, through? So,
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of job security.
oh my goodness, we don't need any more. I can tell you that. Don't need any help with that. But I guess that was kind of a long answer to the start of answering your question about what's
That
the
was
future
great.
for pike. If we could stop pike from getting anywhere else, like stop their spread as it is, like that would be great.
That'd be
Yeah.
a win.
That'd be a win. There's some really vulnerable habitats out there that if they got into it, just be another Alexander
Yeah,
situation.
just curtains
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
for the native or indigenous fish that are there.
Yep, exactly.
What do you call those fish?
Just native species.
You had like another like a
Oh, anadromous.
anadromous.
Yep. So
So technical.
What spots are you most worried about?
Jim Creek is a bad one. They're in Palmer up the Kinetics River. That'd be a bad deal. The Cottonwood Creek system, Wasilla Lake, Cottonwood Lake, that whole chain of lakes, Mud Lake, Nicholson. Those would
Such
be bad.
heavy salmon runs in there.
Yeah. Yep. And good
Yeah.
pike habitat, and so that's why we're kind of concerned.
Yep.
And yeah, there's still places that we don't even know about,
Sure.
It's the area we're working in, the Matsu Valley, it's the size of West Virginia on a landmass, right? And there's, for the valley, me and one other permanent biologist
Yeah,
tasked
yeah.
with doing this and
Yeah.
a few seasonals. And
Well, and the way the glaciers cut the river valley, it's so complex and
Oh, yeah.
connected and intertwined. I mean, it's just a spider web of
oh yeah,
water that comes out of the Alaska range and connects one way, shape, or form. So
yep.
fucking things can just spread.
Oh yeah. Well, in the springtime, everything's almost connected, right? With the high waters,
right,
it's just
right,
like
totally.
a whole swamp
Big
on the west
flood.
side of the Sioux, and
Yeah.
like golly, so yeah, it's prevention is a big one for us. If we could, and then
In front of it.
kind of the second part of that is chip away at it where we can. The reason we started on the Kenai is because we thought we could, get rid of them there. Now the second part is keeping them from coming back.
Yeah.
And then in Anchorage, it would be great to deal with the problems here for the pike, just because there's, whenever you have a source population that you don't want moved next to the highest density population in the state, that's kind of a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So the more places we can get rid of them, so, to reduce the chance of people moving them, the better. And then moving forward for the valley, ideally, we're going to be doing some eradication projects coming up in a few lakes, but for the most part, they're landlocked lakes that, we stock that are super easy projects.
Yeah.
It's the open systems that are really complex that you alluded to. It's so interconnected. Those are the difficult ones to work in, and those are the ones, like Alexander, where we're just killing as many with nets as we can.
Right.
But full eradication is kind of difficult, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah.
and if I remember right from watching your presentation, you had it broke down to like categories,
yep.
like maybe like the level of invasive invasion.
Level of impact, I would say.
There we go. Yeah, we're
Yep.
like, it's like code green, yellow, and then red,
Yep.
category 1 through 3 or whatever.
Yep.
And these are critical, ecosystem damage. And then you have ones that are like, okay, they might be there, they might not, or they're not there yet, right?
Right. Yeah. Essentially, kind of the way it breaks down is, the categories 1, 2, and 3, with 1 being Pike are there, but not necessarily causing a problem yet. And really what it comes down to is the role that habitat plays. And so, if you think of your terrestrial animals, like you're not going to find a sheep in a swamp and you're not going to find a moose at, on Pioneer Peak, so to say, that habitat plays a critical role in where fish are at as well. And, when it comes to salmon and pike, a lot of the places down here that historically was great salmon habitat, it's also great pike habitat, and that's where we have the problems. But we do have systems that say, like Big Lake is a good one. It's a huge lake, very deep, complex habitat, kind of allows for some separation of habitat occupancy. So the juvenile fish, there's a little overlap.
Enough room for all.
Yeah, you could say enough room for all. So the pike aren't going to be the dominant species,
they're going to stay in their lane in the shallows or whatever they're doing.
Yep.
Versus like the char and the dollies and everything are in the deep water doing their thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And then you go on to what I consider category 2, and that's water bodies that still have salmon, but they're definitely being impacted kind of moderately to even severely. So for example, like the 3 Mile lake system is a perfect one on the west side of near Beluga there.
Silverfish there all the time as kids.
Yep, and there's still some cohos that come back. Very few. I think we saw one king last year. I've seen one adult sockeye.
Wow.
Like it is dismal.
Yeah.
It's a pike fishery, but like the salmon are holding on by a thread. So that would be category 2, and then category 3 is like game over.
Alexander Lake.
It is pike, nothing else, and that's just a pike factory at this point. And a lot of people say, well, coexist in the Yukon drainage just fine, so how can they be a problem down here? I hear it all the time. And if you think about it, in their native range, even in the Yukon or Tanana drainage, there's still like pike waters, like where you go and all you're going to catch is pike, or primarily pike, and there's not much, if any, salmon, right? So it's just a matter of that kind of getting fleshed out down here, and the ultimate result of that down here is pretty dismal because we have so much good pike habitat, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It absolutely does.
Man, that was a lot of info.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brutal.
Well, I like it because it really explains the background where I think a lot of us, I actually like fishing for pike. It's fun. And they actually eat really good. So it's like a love-hate. Like you love them and it's cool to have them, but at the same time, they're drastically impacting habitat in a bad way. So it's a, guilty pleasure, I guess, maybe when you're like, find a good pike fishery, like, oh man, Alexander Lake, I'm sure it was probably 30, 40 inches out of there all the time, Trapper Lake style back in the day.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, there used to be salmon though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's all good and fun, but that's not supposed to be there.
I mean, a midnight bagel.
When you see it,
Shouldn't do it,
generational
but
shit.
Don't have a piece of pizza at 1 a.m. Straight to the waistline. Straight to the waistline.
These things that like we see a drastic shift in less than a generation. Those are bad things, and it's just like the tip of what can come if it's not managed right. It's not for our kids can't go fish at Alexander, have those 24 king weekends.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen again.
No, it won't. And so it's like it has the potential to be way worse.
Oh, it does. It can always get worse. And that's a scary thing. It's as bad as it is, it can still get worse.
Yeah.
And that's what we're kind of nervous about. And if we can keep it from getting worse, that'd be great.
Sounds like you guys are doing a hell of a job with pretty minimal.
Sounds like you got to hire
manpower.
some guys.
Well, obviously there's budgeting that goes into that, and that's a challenge in it. That's its own competition on the off season, right? But I'll say early on, thank you for your efforts what you're doing, because now we have a lot more background on how important it is, the work that you are doing. So, if there's anybody out there with a pocket full of money who wants to help contribute to the cause, give Parker and his team a call. I'm sure they'll take whatever they can get to help their their work.
Yeah, we chase a lot of grants for our work, for our big projects, you know, to fund these eradication projects. And so that's really gone a long way. Oh, yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's just one problem. And I mentioned, you know, the Elodia is another one. There's also some very concerning ones kind of like knocking on our doorstep, so to say, like dracaenid mussels. So your zebra and quagga mussels, like through the Great Lakes and through the Midwest.
Right, yeah.
Like, oh, that'd be so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. They would just kill the production of a lake, you know, so you think of like Bristol Bay or places like that. It'd be bad news.
It'd be critical to protect those.
For sure. And, you know, the scary thing is they only need one to produce, and they found them on boats being trailered from the lower 48 to Alaska at the border. They have a inspection station. It's not year-round, and it's not 24/7, but it's kind of during the peak travel hours, so to say.
Yeah.
And so they'll inspect watercraft. And I think, fortunately, the mussels have been dead, but it doesn't take much more than, like, you know, kind of a nice, moist live well for them to survive a few-day trip up here, and then they dump it in Big Lake, and it's game over. It'd be really difficult to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Man, that's stuff you don't even think about.
Right.
So
You know what I mean?
Nope.
we kind of started monitoring for those a couple years ago. And kind of the first step in that is measuring the calcium in the water body to know if it's even suitable.
Okay.
So fortunately, there's a few lakes that they just don't have suitable calcium for the mussels to even grow to produce shells. They would just die, never take off. But there's a lot of lakes, and Big Lake's one of them, with very suitable calcium, and they would do just fine.
How about like Lake Iliamna and those other western river, you know, salmon habitat lakes? Do you know?
Good question. I'm not sure the calcium values of those.
Yeah.
We're just kind of starting in the valley. It'd be great if we could expand into those other regions.
Get a gauge for all that.
Yep, for sure. But right now, you know, us being Region 2, so basically South Central, that's where we're starting at. And, be great to get samples from all over the state, especially those places we're very concerned about.
Right.
So,
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Let's do it.
Big Ray's, the Alaskan Outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Ray's has the gear you need tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. At Big Ray's, you'll find brands like Carhartt, Grundens, Darn Tough, FXD, Okiwear, and more. Big Ray's is your one-stop shop for both outdoor gear and rugged work attire. Check out their new exclusive line of durable but affordable waders, inspired by and named after the majestic Aralik River in remote western Alaska. The Aralik wader was designed by Alaskans and proven for the diverse waters of the last frontier. Visit Big Ray's at any of their 5 locations statewide, 2 in Anchorage, 2 in Fairbanks, 1 in Kodiak, or check them out online at bigrays.com.
Tailored Restoration, helping Alaskans turn disasters into new beginnings since 1972. Their 24-hour services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, and repairs. Tailored built its reputation with years of committed and reliable service to the community with innovative restoration and home remodeling. When you have an unexpected home issue at the most improbable time, Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Tailored Restoration has locations to serve you in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Give them a call at 907-344-1239 or make an appointment today at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlander products. If you want to customize your vehicle, talk to the team at Total Truck, where you'll find their expertise along with top brands such as ARE, RSI Smart Caps, Goose Gear, iCamper, Frontrunner, Rigid Lights, Rhino Lining bed liners, and everything you need to outfit your truck or SUV. Want to turn your truck into a sleeping option? They have rooftop tents, custom camping equipment, electronics, and solar energy packages to keep you powered up deep in the backcountry. Stop by their store location on Dowling between the new and old Seward Highway, or check them out at TotalTruckAK.com.
All right, I think we're gonna get down to the real trivia here.
Let's say before Brandon gets back here, are we having any other invasive fish issues like bass or anything?
Oh boy, that's a good question. So we did have a largemouth bass get caught in Sand Lake in 2019.
Really?
Yeah. And
How do you even get that here? They like fly it up or drive it?
Either or, yeah.
Dude,
I
that's
don't know.
crazy.
But
Man, how
talk
do you
about a shit show.
Jeez.
The media shit show that came from that. Oh my God.
We got a photo of it? Is that by chance something on the internet?
You
Good
probably
luck.
could
Let's
look.
see.
So what went down?
So basically, somebody was fishing Sand Lake for
Yeah.
trout or whatever, and caught this bass, and knew instantly, like, yeah, this isn't supposed to be here. So called Fish and Game, turned it in, and we're like, oh my God, what in the world?
Yeah.
So we went out and did some sampling for it with the kind of the best gear that we had, which is really designed for pike.
Yeah.
So we, did some fishing, set some nets, set some pike nets, and didn't catch anything else. But just the, everything about the media was all about this bass.
Yeah.
We knew about as much as everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
All 7.5 inches of it?
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's a little guy.
Oops,
It was. Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's a state record.
Yeah,
Like
someone's
that-
got the
that
record.
big.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all
Wow.
6 ounces.
So it was interesting. We did the otolith thing on that fish as well, and it was just all over the place. Super crazy, weird results. And the best thing I could figure it was in some aquarium with some sort of unique chemical signature that just made it all cattywampus. And
Okay.
but we don't think it was in there for very long. And I don't think it was very old. So
Yeah.
hopefully it was just the one. We haven't had any reports of anything else. We've had
Boy, it'd probably struggle in the wintertime too, right? So I know the largemouth do survive in lakes that freeze, but our lakes freeze for a long time.
yeah.
Early and late.
I think they would survive. I don't think they would be very big or grow very well. They grow big in California, Texas, the Southeast with those temperatures. Up here, they would,
Yeah.
probably not get a lot bigger than that in a few years. So luckily, that's the only one for bass that we've had.
New Alaska record.
See what else. We've had goldfish in Anchorage a couple of times. We've had to deal with at Cuddy Pond. We've just made that one go away.
Yeah. Goldfish. How about carp?
No. Well, no.
Okay.
I consider carp
Yeah, the goldfish.
goldfish almost the same.
Yeah,
Just-
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Sure.
But as far as carp that like other states are dealing with,
Yeah,
like
like-
the Asian carp that are
Yep.
jumping out of the water, nothing like that. Fortunately, we've had back in the day, meaning like maybe the early 2000s, yellow perch on the Kenai Peninsula.
Really?
Yep, and that was one of the first road-known projects for invasive fish up here that the department did.
Okay.
So made those go away. And then, let's see what else. We've had fathead minnows on the Kenai Peninsula in a little pond. Don't know really where they came from. They're not native anywhere close to here, if that was an aquarium dump or what. And then the last weird one was a muskie that was on the Kenai Peninsula.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. And that one was weird because there was a chain of like 8 lakes in the Tote Road area, and they had pike. They were on the list to get rid of. And in doing some of the netting in the area, the crews netted this lake and found this funny looking pike.
Yeah.
Of course, saved it. And sure enough, it was a muskie. And
Wow.
rather than pike being in the lake, it was a muskie population. And we definitely made those go away, but it was a reproducing population.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn, so there was like a little muskie scare for a second there?
Briefly, because we found out about it as soon as we were basically getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, thank goodness you guys were doing the work.
Oh gosh.
And
Yeah.
you caught up on it because obviously that's another invasive, very much like a pike, where it could have
Oh, for sure.
spread like wildfire at some point.
Yep.
So the last thing we need is, I've never caught a muskie. I've seen them. They look fun to catch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're fun to fish for. They're not generally as like prolific as pike. You know, you can go out and have a 50 pike day.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in a good spot. But with muskies, it's, you know, sometimes lucky to catch one in a day.
Oh, really?
You know, they call it the fish of 10,000 cast.
Oh, I see. That's a troll caught fish mostly too, right? Is that muskies that they catch? See those guys down in the States with like 8,000 rods sticking out of the back of their boat, and
I don't know if that's for muskies. They might be trolling for something else. They could be trolling for them. I've never heard of them.
No, you're right. There's another big fish like a pike and a muskie. It's a
Pusky.
We'll keep moving. I'm gonna actually look that up. No, it's something else.
I like the Pusky better than the Mike.
They're huge.
The Pusky Mike.
All right, you guys ready for a little bit of
Yeah,
this?
let's do it.
Let's see what Parker's got in a trivia game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. All right. So
You already won one, all right.
we're a little pike centric. So on this episode of trivia, sponsored by Mayor's Salsa. So maybe answer last, unless you really want to jump the gun.
Okay.
All right. So
Let us blurt out the wrong answers first.
that's the best. That's the best part. All right. Up to how many teeth can a northern pike have?
I'm going to say 80.
How many teeth? Oh my God.
Up to how many teeth? So there's a range.
I think their shit goes like reverse too. I think if I remember right. I'm gonna say average of 500 teeth.
500.
Ooh,
Yeah.
whoa. Okay, 80,
Wow,
500.
I've never thought to count teeth in a pike. That's a good one. I'm going to go 175.
All right. Hey, we're going to go back to you real quick. You said average of 500. So up to how many?
Well, that was my answer. Was up to 500.
Up to 500.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the average is 500. It's
shit.
300 to 700 teeth
See?
in a
Ooh.
pike.
Well, if you
I
ever
had no clue.
if you ever caught one and they open their mouth, I mean, they just have a fuck ton
Dude,
of
it's-
just angled teeth that are just like stacked in there. I mean,
Yep.
just like all around the gums.
Yep.
Here we go.
And
Let's
they're
get up.
What a great
Oof.
guess, Brandon.
Look at that. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
insane.
Like just stacked in there.
Yeah.
It's almost like reverse sandpaper, but it's
insane.
teeth.
Yeah, a lot of them are pointed backwards with the idea
Yeah.
of nothing's coming out that direction. Once it's
Right.
in its mouth, it's going
Yeah.
one
It's
way.
Going down.
Yep.
Yeah, they're
Whoa.
vicious creatures.
Yeah, they can spit a hook pretty good.
They can, yeah.
Yeah, they get that head ripping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's more or less what I was thinking. Not just the teeth around the lip, but that
Oh, everything
in the
internal.
inside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Every once in a
Yeah,
while,
nice.
surprise people,
Dude, you
don't I?
nailed it.
There you go.
That was
a good
amazing.
question. That was
Yeah,
great.
I actually already knew, but just testing you guys.
All right. Okay, so we talked about earlier. You nailed one of the trivia. So I was gonna ask, are pike native to Alaska, and if so, where? And you answered.
Oh, yeah.
You answered everywhere north of the Alaska Range and west, right?
Yep.
Okay, but there is one other place in Alaska that has native pike. Where is it?
Ooh, I saw it in the map. I won't pull it back up, but I want to say it's like, man, it's above that southeast. It's like Cordova.
Cordova?
Oh wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Like Yakutat.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, I'll go with it.
Yakutat.
Yeah.
Is
you
it?
Nailed it. Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yep.
2
Yep.
for 2.
Damn.
You go
Yeah.
home with some mayor salsa,
No, because
bud.
when you said that map, I remember seeing where
There's like a little red section.
there's
Yeah.
a little red
Yeah.
pocket.
Nice,
I-
dude. 2 for 2,
Dude, let's
bud. You're
fucking
killing it, dude.
Keep it coming,
You're hot.
boys. Keep it coming.
So I don't know where in Yakutat they are.
So, and I was just down in Yakutat last summer for some personal fishing, and I think it's just kind of some of the ponds around, town, so to say.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh,
It
man.
must have migrated from Canada.
Well,
waters
it's
or something?
kind of a old
that's it.
relic.
There's
out
the
of,
map, and you should see that just
Yeah.
little spot right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
weird little
right.
spot that wasn't influenced by the glaciers when this whole region was covered up in glaciers, and so kind of a, if you were to extend that into Canada, it'd probably
Oh, okay. Go
Connect.
up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be all over the place, probably.
It's just interesting, like how close that's probably to the sea tuck fishery.
Well, yeah, so it's interesting. Actually, I believe they are native in the Taku drainage as well.
Which is the one just to the south.
South or north, I'm not that familiar.
Uh-huh.
But more in like the upper Canadian waters, but I think they have been caught in the lower part in the Alaska section. So, but yeah, it's I'm not too familiar with that down there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, they are all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It seems like it would be devastating to the sea tuck drainage. I mean, I don't think they could really live in that many places in the river, but the lake, right? That's where the steelhead, over winter or over summer, depending if it's in the fall, spring. Yeah, it could be a real bad deal. All right. That was a cool one, though. I had no idea. Okay, so you're on a roll, Brandon. All right.
Keep 'em coming.
What is the state record for pike? How big is the fish in pounds, not kilograms?
Pounds? Well, I was thinking more like length. I haven't figured out. I've been fortunate enough
Well, you said his 38-pound king was an 18-pounder.
Yeah, it was bad judgment. Bad judgment. Well, I thought it was the classic hold up to the camera move.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He had the sucker right to the
big
chest.
hands, dude.
Yeah, I was like, wow, he actually has the fish
There you go.
in proper context.
And the second part of that should be, where did it come from?
Okay.
There you
Let's
go.
do it. I like
Okay,
it.
I'm
I
going to say,
like it.
ask the question again. What's the record?
Okay, yeah. What's the record? How big and where'd it come from?
Pounds. Yeah, because I have trouble going, okay, like, I thought it was like, okay, 30-inch fish should weigh about X amount of pounds. 40-inch fish weighs X amount of pounds. So I think of it like length. All right. So record fish is probably a 48-incher that came in at 26 pounds and was caught off the Yukon River near Galena.
Ooh, good.
Just
Good. I'm going to go a little bigger. I'm going to go 56 pounds.
all right.
Big boy. And I'm going to say where? What river? Oof.
They don't weigh that much actually with their size. I think.
Man, river-wise? Or where? That's a really good question. I'd have to look at the map and choose a river here.
Are you
Hold on.
going to look in your computer? No. Because I think about some of those watersheds where the pike and like she fish exist.
Oh yeah.
And they get big.
Talk about
and
a fun place
massive.
to fish.
Yeah, like if you're like, oh, I'm over here, we got she fish,
Yeah.
25, 30 pounders, and you're over here catching
I'm going to
40
just say
inch pike.
Kuskokwim. I don't know.
Nice, okay.
Okay. You
Oh,
ready
yeah.
you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 38 pounds and change from the Inoko.
Anoka. Where's the Anoka?
It's on the Yukon.
Yukon.
Near like what? Give me like a town. Is it close to Galena?
It's past Galena, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know. Daniel's going to search it.
You said 38 pounds?
And some change, I think.
What did I say my fish weight was?
27.
You're close.
Ah,
28.
man. I should have went over 30.
But if you look at the length, a 38-inch fish is just under, or 38-pound fish is just under 48 inches. So
Right.
you were pretty close on the length.
Yeah, because you could catch
What'd you
like
say
a
the river was?
30-inch pike and think this thing is...
Inoko?
Anoko?
You could catch a 30-inch pike and think it's
INNOKO.
huge, but it only weighs, 11 pounds.
Anoko?
Right?
Yeah.
'Cause it's a big,
Might have
big
two
head,
ends in it.
Long.
Two what?
big spine,
ends.
Yeah.
big fins, but all bones, and then the meat's just like strips.
Yep.
Noko
So it
River?
doesn't pack a lot of weight.
Yeah, Noko River. And go to the map.
Let's see here.
Maybe just go to map.
This one? No.
On your search, just go to maps. Yeah, see if that works. Yeah, there you go. Noko River.
Oh, yeah, Galena's way north.
Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah.
It wasn't that far off, though, boys. I mean,
What's this
it is
river?
pretty far off, but
That's
Yukon.
that's
That's
the
Yukon.
Yukon itself.
Okay.
Yep.
Anoka River.
Wow. Sick.
So if you look at like the aerial image of that, you can almost just tell looking at it, it's like, wow, that's going to be great pike habitat.
Yeah.
It's connected to all kinds of lakes and sloughs and stuff like that.
Back channels, and old channels.
Yep.
Now I have another question for you guys.
Oh,
Hit the button.
Okay, you got
Nice.
it, bud.
State record pike caught by bow and arrow,
Ooh.
Oh,
and out of what watershed?
I will say
You have to go last.
Are we doing length or weight?
I did length. I'm saying length because I
Okay.
don't know the weight.
All right.
I may have forgotten the length, but I'm trying
I'm
to be
gonna
close.
go 40 inches, and that it's that. What's the name of the lake that they allow bow on the Kenai called?
Yes, bow and arrow,
Damn it, I forgot its
bow
name.
fishing.
Damn it, it's there. I'll think of it in a minute, but there's a lake on the Kenai that.
While you're thinking, Daniel, what do
Yeah.
you got?
I have no idea about the
Length
lake.
and
I'm gonna
where?
go 44.
Okay,
44 on the length.
give me a lake, man.
I'm gonna go. Tamed by the Kenai. Pull up my trusty map.
Matsu area.
Let's just go Alexander Lake.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
Do you want to tell us?
Sure. And it's actually a world record.
Oh,
world
really?
record.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Oh,
So
wow,
if you
cool.
Google world record bow fishing pike, it's I think 48 and a half from Big Lake.
Really?
Yep. And I think a girl got it at 12 years old, maybe.
Yeah, there's a great picture
really?
of a guy and a little girl. I'm thinking
Yeah.
father and daughter.
I think so.
There they
yeah.
are. There it is.
Dang.
They got the lights going under the boat. Which is a really cool photo.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yep.
Tell me how fun that has to be, man.
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
Oh,
awesome.
just seeing that just right in front of your
Have
boat.
you had any luck doing that?
I've never really done that much. No, but that's a good way to get after them, and especially in places like Big Lake, they might be a little tight-lipped, maybe during
Yeah,
the spawn.
sure.
Just shoot 'em.
There's just so
Yeah.
much boat traffic during the day that they're maybe
Yeah.
not as active. Because obviously during the summer, right, on a weekend, there's ski boats and jet boats and shit ripping around. She stuck it good too. Look where
Yeah,
it's
she
stuck.
did.
Just
Yeah,
like
she
right in
did.
the meat behind the head.
Perfect. Yeah.
Good job, little girl.
Will it
That's so
swim
cool.
to the light, or are you just?
I don't know if it
spotting
would
them out there?
swim to it. Might not be necessarily scared of it. But May is the perfect time. As soon as the ice goes out, that's when those big females will be in the shallows like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So,
That's so cool.
They're pretty wicked too. If you've ever had one, like follow a piece or follow up a lure, get something close and see their eye. Like I made eye contact with one once. I was like, "Whoa, that thing looked at me.
Wow.
yeah.
Like it looked at me." Like,
Going
what
through
the hell?
those, the slew of the Lake Louise and Susitna, one of them big,
burbot.
oh my God, dude. They come to the light. Those
Yeah.
guys ain't scared.
Right. Kind of like a ling.
Oh man,
You know?
monster. And that
Really?
little slough between the two. Oh my goodness, dude. Because it's so shallow and you have
Yeah.
a bright light, dude. You just,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good job, boys.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That was
Fun
a good
trivia.
one. Yeah,
That was
I
good.
like that one.
I like the teeth one. That's fascinating.
Oh,
Wish I would've
now,
known
now,
that one.
yeah, now you got to add that to the repertoire.
Yeah.
At
How
first,
many
I
fish?
searched how many bones because I was like, "Oh, it's got to have like a crazy amount," and it wasn't that many. And I was like, "Okay, well, that's not fascinating. that's not good enough."
Well,
That's it.
well, let's jump into a little bit more about Parker, man. What do you love to do here, man?
I want to talk about these Rams.
Yeah, you have other passions and loves, and
I like
Things?
shooting bears.
your Instagram post or your Instagram handle says something about funding your love and
Hunting,
passion,
fishing,
or
trapping addiction or something.
something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, this guy's interesting.
That's about, that's why I live here.
You got all kinds of cool stuff. Tons of dead bears.
Yeah, look at
Yep.
this.
You love
guys went
shooting
all
bears,
over.
obviously.
I do like shooting bears.
Those
I don't
are
know what it is.
Those are bait station
Look
bears.
at his
obviously,
shirt,
too.
dude. Fuck lettuce.
Okay.
That's my bear hunting shirt.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I wear that bear hunting. So, but yeah,
Are
no,
those cinnamon black bears?
they
Or
are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Damn, man.
So it's about,
Hook me up on where to find those because I want to kill one of those so bad.
I got a, actually that one on the bottom right, That one was about a little over 7 feet, I think, and I got him rugged.
Nice bear.
Super nice, great hide, and I've been watching him for actually a couple of years, and finally just connected with him. So
nice.
But yeah,
archery
fairly
or
recent?
rifle?
I've got a couple archery, but mostly anymore just rifle. 45-70 is my go-to.
Oh, nice.
I
I love
see.
that thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And I mainly I don't want those suckers to run.
You want to
more than
knock them
20.
down.
Yeah, because it is so thick in some of that habitat, and they don't bleed very well sometimes, and so to blood track them is really tough. And I just want to anchor them.
Yeah.
Be done with it. And
I've heard guys talk about that in the past, especially bait station, where you don't want to have to go try to find the damn things.
you don't. Well, yeah, looking for wounded bears is one thing,
Sketchy
but
in
it's
itself, yeah.
also just difficult to find them. You know, sometimes. So
Yeah.
Yep.
What kind of plans you got this year? Did you draw anything?
I did not draw anything.
No way.
Yeah.
Let the fishing game guys
Yeah,
do
I
it all,
know.
man.
Despite what you hear, we don't all get tags every year. And you know, a lot of my
That's
I
good
don't-
for a conspiracy theorist out there
Yeah.
to hear that.
Now you should look me up just to confirm, right?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Working on it right now.
You know, usually I kind of wait to make hunting plans until the draw results come out. That'll,
Yeah.
take priority over anything, right?
Yeah.
But I have my go-to that I try to do, spring bear, every year. I really like doing Kodiak, either for deer or goats. We did that last year. That was a blast.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah, you got
really,
a beautiful goat.
really
Yeah,
hammered
Pull that up real quick.
some goats. Scroll more over. I want to see you guys got 5 or 6 of them things, didn't you?
5, yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
I've never seen a stack of goats like that.
we,
Damn.
Whoa.
one day, I think,
Like black-tailed deer? Just stack
Yeah,
them up.
just stacked up.
yeah, when you get into a pot of them, you just sort of make the most of it. And I think we had 4 down like in one day, and the next few days was packing them out.
Well,
Yeah.
what's really cool about hunting for goats in that kind of harvest is that they're not natural
Right.
to Kodiak, and you're allowed to take that number versus going and putting the hammer down on, say, a mountain on some specific draw tag where you go and hammer 5 goats. It might actually
Right.
affect things a little bit.
Oh, they're doing great on Kodiak.
No,
Actually,
there's no problems there.
So
yeah.
you're allowed 2, but if you shoot 2, one of them has to be a nanny.
Right.
And
Oh,
so they
really?
it used to be one of them has to be a billy, but then they switched it to one has to be a nanny. So you can shoot 2 nannies or a nanny and a billy.
but never
not
2
two
billies.
Not anymore.
Ah,
You used to be
okay.
able to.
Right.
Interesting.
But this is, and it's not all of Kodiak, just like the registration area that's,
Okay.
I don't know, the southwestern 2/3 of
Right.
the island.
Yeah.
There's draw units where it's like one goat, and
Right.
other parts.
On the road system.
and then the road system as well. I put in for the road system every year. That'd be a great tag.
Yep.
So yeah, I like the White Mountain critters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it. Lots
How many
of
rams you guys got after?
I've gotten 2 myself. That was my buddy's sheep in the TMA, and
Nice.
so I've gone on a couple TMA hunts, and then a few in the Brooks Range, just harvest ticket.
Yeah.
And the last year we did the Brooks, it was, we've been kind of seeing the ram numbers decrease quite a bit, and kind of hard to justify with the inverse relationship of ram numbers and then the price to fly out.
Yeah.
And it just got to that threshold. It's like, I can't justify that anymore. And, there's still rams out there, of course, but in the area we were going, it was just on the decline, it seemed like. And,
Yeah.
You
maybe
just see them
needs-
less and less and less, and it's like,
Yep.
just give it a break now.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Good for you.
So,
So what do you got planned this year then? You said you wait for the draws and you didn't draw anything.
for the draws, yeah, this spring in particular might be kind of busy. I'm going to try to do my spring bear if I can.
You do that by boat mostly, it looks like?
Boat. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
boating
we
around?
get out there really far from people.
Good. Good.
Nice.
Hence why you have a lot of
You want me to pull up the
critters come
map
in.
so you can show us?
Yeah, sure.
right up
we get
the
that?
upper
Onyx.
Huffman.
Can we get that GPS coordinate of exactly where your station's at?
Yeah. So
Right
I don't want to.
Upper Huffman area, just kind of to the left?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say on the air, of course.
No, no,
but,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do not say it on there.
No.
Yeah.
We'll have to edit it out.
Yeah. Just a long beep.
Yeah.
And for this fall, I don't really know. I'm wanting to do a big float with a buddy, kind of for caribou / sheep. up in the
Oh,
northern
cool.
regions.
Nice.
Float we've never done before. I think that would
exciting.
be fun. And then, our fall's going to be really busy with work as well. And I don't know if I'll squeeze in any more. I don't know if we have it in for Kodiak this year or not. Probably not. But I'd like to do Kodiak almost every year. That place is so fun.
It's amazing.
Yep.
Same.
Place of dinosaurs.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't make it out there enough.
Did y'all get any tags?
Yep, I did get a goat.
Ooh, where at?
Kenai Lake.
Oh,
Up
nice.
there, Chris and Carter.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
It's gonna
Very,
be
very
awesome.
excited about that. Been putting in that one for a long time.
Okay. Nice.
Super
nice.
stoked.
It was kind of his dream ticket.
Yeah, I went up there with my brother and his buddy maybe 10 years ago and got a couple goats, and I've been wanting to go and get myself one ever
Okay.
since. So it's been like the only goat I put in for.
Really?
for
So
the
this would
last,
be
like,
your
10
first
years.
goat if you get one?
For me,
Yeah.
for me, yeah.
Okay.
Me shooting, yeah, for sure. So
Awesome.
I'm very excited about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited for that because that's like a native hunting zone for goats. Not taking anything away from goats on Kodiak. That's still a mountain goat in a mountain, and you're earning it. But those are that aid word, man. I like that word.
Adronomous?
Something like that. Does that even really apply to animals?
No.
Or just fish?
Just fish.
Anadromous?
It's an adronomous goat.
Agronomist. I love yeah.
Anadromous goats.
Isn't it a fish that returns every year from the ocean? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that
salmon or
means.
So it's
steelhead.
born in fresh water, goes to the ocean to rear, and then comes back to spawn.
Right.
And then, okay, here's a trivia for you.
I skipped the biology part and
That's
didn't really
cool.
want to major in that. So
Yeah. Are you ready?
I
Yeah.
went
What
to sniffing
is-
paint fumes.
The opposite of anadromous.
Ooh.
Oh shit, man! We got
So a
trivia
fish
all
that does the opposite movement of like a salmon.
day. So like a steelhead or
No,
maybe like
what
a
would that
So spawns in the ocean, goes into the fresh water to rear and grow, and then comes back to spawn.
would that be like a she fish? Would be that kind of fish? No.
No, not in Alaska. But there's a term used to describe what, like anadromous, but
Yeah.
Conadromous. Did I get it right? No. I'm just joking.
yeah.
Really?
Catadromous.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Don't leave him hanging, bro.
Yeah, oh, shoot. Okay, all right.
funny.
Damn, you just like killed my
Yeah,
role. to
dude,
just-
that
What's your- were you on Google right there or anything?
Catadromous?
No, you seen what I see.
Okay. Yeah.
I just saw
Decided
opposite the
in
con.
Jamis.
Yeah.
Use my language arts, not
There
my
you go.
biology skills.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nailed it, dude.
All right. There you
Yeah,
go,
the
guys.
American
I gotta
eel.
bring home salsa. Oh, the American eel.
Yep.
Does the opposite.
Yep.
Does those count for those little eels that come on the Yukon? What do they call those?
Those are lamprey.
Lamprey.
Yep. And those are anadromous.
Those are anadromous. Okay.
Yep. So they go out into the ocean, grow,
Not to
come
be
back, spawn.
confused as Canadromous.
Yes.
Catadromous.
Catadromous.
Yeah.
Still even saying it wrong.
Yeah, the first time you see one of those lamprey, you're like, "What is that thing?"
Oh yeah, they're funny looking fish.
Yeah, they're special for sure.
Yep.
I had a interesting question about like the stomach content study. And kind of going back because I wanted to ask this earlier when we were into the pike stuff, but I had to get this in. I'm just kind of curious of what kind of crazy stuff you find in those damn things'
Oh,
stomachs.
yeah.
I mean, because I know you find waterfowl, rodents and fish and different various fish, but like I was thinking about like great white sharks. You find a license plate in
Trash
the stomach
can,
or
yeah.
something. Like, you ever find any really crazy shit in those things?
Gosh, I don't know about crazy.
Just really kind of maybe head scratchers. Like, wow, that thing ate that.
So
Coca-Cola can.
probably the most interesting that kind of caught me off guard was almost like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
I was ice
Fresh off the
fishing,
press.
fresh off the press. It was super interesting. So I was fishing out in the figure eight area, and I don't have secrets when it comes to pike fishing in the valley. I'll tell anyone anything.
That's a good thing about that. There's no secrets.
Yep.
Where are you going?
No,
Pike fishing
I
right
got-
here.
I got my secrets in the native range, but down here, the gloves are
Yeah,
off.
yeah. There you go.
But so figure eight area and caught the pike. Later that night, I was cutting one open, and I always just open their stomachs to see, and pull the pike out of the bag, and instantly there's this little fish flopping. Like, what in the world? Because these lakes, they pretty much only have pike. They almost exclusively eat bugs. So to see a little fish like that, I was like, wow, that's weird. And it was a little blackfish. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. It's still alive after like 8 hours, just sitting in the pike's throat, basically. And then I go to cut open the...
Now, would it have froze and then re-thawed?
It wasn't cold enough to freeze.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it was still from that same day, not frozen yet or anything. And then I cut open the stomach, and it had more blackfish. And I got a video I can show you guys. And there's this little blackfish about 2 inches long, and it wiggles its way out, kind of like the movie The Alien, where that thing pops out of the dude's chest. And it's like, it's like that almost coming out of the stomach. I'm like, what in the world? I've only ever seen bugs from the pike in this lake, and it was a little blackfish still alive from like 8 hours ago, and still alive in the stomach. Just
wow. Send me the you have it on your phone?
Yeah.
Airdrop it to me.
What kind
real
of
quick.
fish would that be? A little blackfish?
Little blackfish, Alaska blackfish. So they're actually not native to this region as well, which is kind of interesting. They have the same native range in Alaska, basically like pike.
Okay.
Minus maybe the Yakutat thing. But native in, Fairbanks, the North Slope, Western Alaska.
They get big enough to actually catch by rod and reel?
Well, you can catch them. It was kind of funny. They did one of the Jewel Lake fishing events.
Yeah.
And one of the years, the blackfish was the hot ticket. That's
Really?
like what all the kids were catching. It's kind of
Oh,
interesting.
okay, so that's the
They got
blackfish.
pre-stocked with them?
They stocked them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We caught one when we went with the students.
Alaska blackfish?
Alaska blackfish, and they're a super fascinating fish, like biology wise, just fascinating. They're super tough. They can almost freeze and come back to life.
Where are they? Oh, they're from the native areas of Alaska. You said that, right? Like they're up in the north.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like a little burbot.
They look like a little burbot. They
That's
don't
what we call them. My son and I, we catch them. We thought we'd catch them little burbot.
I totally remember.
You want to send that to yourself?
Yeah. Oops.
Okay, I've seen those before. Okay.
Yep.
Look like a little lingcod, almost sort of like a burbot
Yeah.
looking thing.
A lot of people see those and either confuse them for little pike or little burbot. But yeah, they're a non-native species down here, and they get, I think the biggest one I've seen is maybe, 10 inches or so.
Right.
Usually they're in the 4 to 6 inch range.
Wow.
But
Well, with the work that you do, what's your involvement or maybe collaboration work with Susitna River Coalition? Is there a lot there, or is it more or less another kind of information platform, or what?
yeah, that's usually where we sort of collide, so to say, with organizations like that. Is a good place for that is the Matsu Salmon Symposium, or the Habitat Partnership, so to say. They do a big meeting in November, and they'll give a presentation. Trout Unlimited will be there, and it's just all about salmon and the Matsu.
Sure.
And so I've presented there, and I think they saw my presentation, and just kind of wanted me to give the pike spiel, so to say. So we don't necessarily work with them directly.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm happy to give presentations to I've done it to Trout Unlimited, Rotary Club, Susitna Coalition.
Well, maybe we'll do a pint night. Have
Sure.
you come do
Yeah, that'd be fun.
do a little presentation.
Q&A type deal?
Yeah,
that'd
just
be
a little
fun.
spiel, kind of.
Sure.
Yeah, we
That'd
did.
be a
I did
blast.
that at King Street Brewing with Trout Unlimited.
Okay.
Maybe last year. So yeah,
Right
no,
on.
I'm happy to do any of those.
How was the turnout?
It was all right. It was like the middle of the winter. I think there was maybe a dozen folks there. So
It's because Alaska Wild Project
Yeah.
wasn't involved, man.
That's right.
yeah, let's get
You need to get
Oh, look
us-
at that.
those get some numbers up.
Crank it up.
Oh man,
Gross.
Hold on, I'll play that
dude,
back.
they gave me like the heebie-jeebies, dude.
Oh man,
That's
that
that-
was
that's
some
that
alien
alien- that's
stuff
that
for
alien
real.
serpent.
Yeah.
Serpent.
Pull that back here.
Pretty good sized fish, too.
Yeah, I think that was about 30-ish
Oh,
inches.
look at that thing.
Oh man,
Swim out of here.
Yeah, we don't see live fish very often.
no.
You could have plopped that thing in water.
He was
I
eating all
would've
those,
swam
huh? Were
around.
those other ones the same thing?
Yep, they were all most likely just juvenile or young of the year, so to say.
Blackfish.
Blackfish. And I think
Blackfish.
4 of the 5 were still alive.
Wow.
So
Those things get big.
Uh,
They stay like
the blackfish, like 8 inches maybe.
Okay.
Would be a pretty good
Okay.
one.
We always call them little burbot, like little mini baby burbot.
Yeah.
Is what we thought. I didn't know what it
Where
was.
they bite the little shrimp hooks or just little
Yeah,
bait?
like Jewel Lake or something like
Yeah.
that. You'll catch some of those little guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
those are all blackfish. And
That is pretty gross. Did you eat that?
the pike?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I love eating pike.
How do you like to cook it?
Just deep fried.
Okay, fried up.
Yeah, it's
Can't go wrong
breading
with
and
that.
fried out.
Deep fried, yeah.
Take it you're a pro at deboning those damn things?
I don't know about a pro, but I get the bones out.
Yeah, it's hard to eat them if you don't get the bones out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, usually what I do, anything smaller than like 30, maybe 25 inches even, I'll just pickle them. And
okay.
it dissolves all the Y bones. So pickled pike is just phenomenal.
Oh my
Really?
gosh.
Yep. So all you got to do is just take the ribs off, de-skin it, and the vinegar and everything else in the pickling process dissolves the Y bones. And so those little, 12, 13, 15 inchers that you get that you don't want to fillet,
Yeah.
pickle them. They're
Yeah.
perfect for it.
Awesome.
What about the canning process? Will that get rid of those little bones too?
It
Do a little
would.
jarring too?
Yep. You could jar it, and that would do the same.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So just like you would jar salmon, do it for pike. Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Not for
wonder how that'd
pike, but for salmon,
Yeah.
all the
salmon.
time.
That's delicious.
Yep.
What lakes on the road system for pike do you recommend?
That's a good question because anything on the road system, we hammer it every summer with nets.
Okay.
And we're not managing these things to be a good fishery for
Right.
people. So I'm happy to tell people where to go fishing, but
Yeah.
I usually tell them with the caveat is if you're limited to the road system, it's going to be a place we've probably hammered.
Yeah.
But having said that, Big Lake is a good one, not for numbers, but as you can see, for some potential size, especially if you can get in there in the spring right away. The access, if you don't have a boat, is pretty limited. Shore fishing in general up here is pretty limited, especially in the open water season. Your access might be a little road right away that's 10 foot wide.
Yeah.
And then the rest is private property. So without a canoe, a kayak,
Yeah.
So with a canoe and kayak, you can do great. I usually recommend like the Nancy Lake canoe system. So you put in at like Tanana Lake, and there's a map online that you can follow the canoe trail and just go like all of those lakes have pike. So just, portage from one lake to the other with a little kayak or whatever. That's a good one. Big Lake, if you have a boat and you want to try to get a good size fish. Nancy Lake's a pretty good one. We hit Nancy really hard every single year. Usually we pull out over 500.
Okay.
And we hit it on a monthly basis.
Wow. 500 total for the season?
The season.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
How about just a little bit off the road system so you could get there on your legs or a 4-wheeler or a boat or something? Not an airplane.
It's kind of tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd almost have to like look at a map.
Well, you guys have a really cool interactive tracker
We do.
that I found, and that was, I thought, like, oh, wow. That could be used. Why don't you pull that up real quick, Daniel?
Yeah,
you
if
could
you
just
Google ADF&G Pike Mapper. Yeah, there's the canoe trail for the Nancy system, but so yeah, click on that and I can guide you the rest of the
I think
way.
it's actually just down from that. There's
Go
a
back?
direct link. Yeah, go back. Right
This one?
below it, I think that'll actually take you straight to it.
That
I
looks
think.
right. Yep, I think you're right.
Okay, boom. Yeah, and I think like the color codes represent like eradication
Yep,
or
so
removal
black-
or whatever.
Black is where we've eradicated them. Red is where they're present, and yellow is where we've had reports, not confirmed at this point. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can look at that map. I usually point people to that resource, and if they have any questions about like, hey, how would pike fishing be here, or what's the access? How do I get to this lake? Then, give me a call, and I can usually walk them through it because we hunt pike for a living, right? So we're looking for access. How do we get there? We've
And if people are willing
done
to
it.
get out, by a jet boat and go up somewhere, and
Oh,
go
yeah.
try to put the hammer on them, you want them to go
Yep.
do that, right?
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to, boat up and down the Susitna, up and down the Yetna, you can certainly get into some good spots. But most people, don't want to do that or don't have the ability or whatever. And
It's a long boat ride too.
Yep. But really the best way to get around, in my opinion, is in the wintertime and with snow machine.
Right.
Yep.
You can just go almost anywhere. So
Yeah.
that's really the best way to get to some of these off the beaten path.
Right.
That Pike tracker that just verifies, confirm reports of where you guys know they're at.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
way cool.
There is a spotlight way to way southwest from Anchorage. What is that spot?
Oh, to the right?
Yeah, right there near that's 3 Mile.
Oh yeah, that cluster on the left,
Yeah.
south of the Beluga River. That's 3 Mile Lake, Chalatenna, or not Chalatenna,
the
Chewett, Boona.
They're seeing pike in the Chewett now.
Not the Chewett River, but Chewett, Boona Lake and Creek.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so that cluster. And so in that system and specifically, we're actually partnered with the Townick Tribal Conservation District out there. And we started in 2018. And for us, it was almost more of like a research project. They wanted to kill pike in this system. And we were at a point of like kind of developing our program here in the valley. I just got hired. And so what we did is we essentially started the project with a population estimate. So we went in, did a mark recapture event, which is essentially you go in and you put tags in fish, let them go, and then you go back after a period of time. In this case, it was about 10 days. And then you catch as many pike as you can. And the ratio of tagged fish to untagged fish and how many tags you put out, you put it in a formula, and that tells you the population estimate.
Okay.
Right? And so we did that. So we wanted a baseline of what was the starting population for the system, and then we're going to hammer it every single year. And then 5 years later, we wanted to repeat essentially the population estimate and see what impact have we been having.
Sure.
So that's essentially coming up this year.
Okay.
This is going to be the anniversary for doing our population estimate.
Awesome.
In 3 Mile Lake. So we're pretty excited to kind of see what that shows. But yeah, we've been killing a ton of pike there and interested to see how we've affected the population. So
Yeah. Oh, that'd be really cool.
Awesome. Well, Parker, thanks for coming in and chatting with us and,
for sure.
and all the information. And I know we've been wanting to talk about pike in here for a while. We're all avid ice fishermen and fishermen, and I know a bunch of our audience will be very happy to hear about that. And we'll probably lock you in for a pint night here one night at Double Shovel and
Sounds
have a
good.
little chat there and have a couple beverages and have a good time.
awesome. Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
If people want to
Great
reach
work.
you maybe
Yeah.
and get a little more info, where could they do that?
Yeah, so my email is parker.bradley, and that's parker.bradley at alaska.gov.
Okay.
Or my office line is 907-746-6328.
Perfect.
So
Any last
Good
questions,
information
guys?
out there, man.
No, just thanks for what you're doing, man. What you're doing is
of course.
important, and it's awesome.
Thank
And,
you. Yeah.
It was fun to fucking hear about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great stories, and thanks for being a genuine Alaskan too, man.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You got a job to do, you got work to do, you got a great cause, but you love the outdoors, you love hunting, you get your dog Cooper
Cooper, yeah.
Cooper out there, tearing it up and getting ducks, and I'm glad to see you're enjoying it and reaping the benefits of being an Alaskan,
That's
man.
why we live here.
That's
Absolutely,
right.
brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for everything you're doing.
All right,
You
appreciate
guys
it,
are doing
guys.
great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alaska. Thank you for listening, as always.
Stay wild.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Big Rays, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Rays has the gear you need, tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. Check out their new exclusive line of aerolic waders. Big Rays for all your outdoor gear and rugged work attire. BigRays.com.
Tailored restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include weekly lawn care, custom landscaping, fertilizing, weed control, turf repair, and more. Schedule your free estimate at lawnproak.com.
Alaska's OG cider company, Double Shovel, crafting gluten-free colonial-style ciders founded as a healthier, non-inflammatory brew option. Drop by their Pop and Tap room in Anchorage off of 58th and Arctic or visit the second location in Kodiak. Double Shovel, award-winning ciders.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, BHA, is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage, is our go-to for powder sleds and utility rigs. Whether you're in the mountains with the flat bill bros, running trap lines, or hauling freight, they have the selection to get you dialed from peaks to the valleys. Find them on Commercial Drive or akmining.com.
At least his equal in prowess and act upon the clean. I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.